challenge begins.
It's time for Day 2, the ASL. We're going to have an interview with our 4 players before we start this off. Day 1 kicked ass. It is good to be back casting StarCraft Remastered, The Resurrection is real. Hellos are passed around. First of all, hi last.
ASL 진출에 성공을 하셨습니다. 오늘 컨디션 어떠신가요?
Again, you're here on the main stage.
와서 손 풀었는데 괜찮더라고요. 그 집에서 하는 거랑 비슷해가지고 잘할 수 있을 것 같아요.
I got to play a little bit even before I got to the studio. I'm feeling pretty confident.
네, 일단 첫 상대가
You're not nervous then?
라서 좀 편하긴 해요.
이거.
So my first opponent's Where, so yeah, I'm definitely comfortable.
약간 기분 나쁠 수도 있는데 제가 이제 우리 김성현 선수의 데이터를 살짝
You're going to
보니까
offend Where by saying that.
이제 최근 한 달간
Let's talk about your record.
데이터가 테란토스전이
Recently.
한 80% 정도 나오고 근데 저그전이 한 50%
past 10
정도밖에 안
months.
돼요. 승률이.
네.
네, 근데 한두열 선수 저그잖아요.
Your win rate against Zerg has been about 50%.
제가 최근에 그 저그전을 좀 많이 져가지고
Where's the
자신감이
solid
좀
Zerg
많이
player?
떨어졌거든요. 근데 이번에 준비하면서 이제 두열이 다시
Yeah, recently I have lost a lot of matches against Zerg.
어떤 자신감이
So that has
생기더라고요.
affected my confidence
이
for sure.
정도는
네, 자신
아무리
But when
있어요.
I've watched Where play
나도 이
and analyzed him,
정도는
I'm
괜찮겠다.
definitely going to be okay.
네.
네, 이거 한두열 선수.
Hey,
네,
Where?
본의 아니게 옆에서 약간 도발 아닌 도발을 들었어요.
You just heard what he said.
네. 어떠신가요?
아니 아까 대기실에서는
How do you feel about that?
뭐 듀얼이 무섭다 계속 이런 식으로 얘기하다가 이제 인터뷰 때 이제 돌변하는 모습을 봤는데
네.
In the makeup room, he said, I'm really scared to face you. And then all of a sudden now here he's changed his mind.
근데 오늘 시작부터
I guess I'll just have to win
이제
tonight.
만만치 않은 테란 두 분이 지금 계세요.
그쵸.
괜찮을까요?
둘 다 이제 제가 테란전을 잘 못하는데 이제
네.
In your groups, there are 2 very strong Terrans.
이제 빌드를 많이 이제
Yeah, that's true, and I'm also not great against Terran,
준비를
but
많이 했거든요. 그렇기 때문에
When I've got tournaments, I usually
준비된 대로
prepare
잘하면 이길 수 있지
well and
않을까
perform
생각합니다.
well.
네, 아주 자신감
I just gotta play like I planned out.
김성현 선수의 모습입니다. 자, 그럼 최우성 선수 인터뷰 한번 해볼까요?
Let's talk
네,
to Sock
안녕하세요.
now.
안녕하세요.
Hello,
최우성 선수
Sock.
오늘 컨디션 좋아 보여요. 어떠세요?
컨디션이요?
네.
Seems like you're in good condition
컨디션은
today.
별로 안 좋아요. 근데
네.
자신
My condition's okay.
어제 약간
But anyways, I've got
못해서
confidence.
그러신 건가요? 왜 컨디션이 안 좋을까요?
아 근데 요즘에
네.
제가
Why is that? 'Cause you've been
방송에서
drinking
술을 좀
less?
잘해요. 옛날보다 잘해가지고 이제 사람들이 먹지 말라고 하더라고요 술을. 그래가지고
No, I'm just strong in general and offline
3,
tournaments.
4일 끊었더니 힘드네요.
네. 막 손이 떨리고 막 그러신가요?
아 그 정도는
Actually, I haven't
아니에요.
had a drink in the past 3 to 4 days.
오늘 첫
It's not
상대가
been
약간
easy though.
부담스러운 선수일 수가 있어요. 송병구 선수잖아요.
He says, "Are you having shaky hands?" He says, "No, not that bad."
송병구 선수 어떤 선수인가요?
근데 병구 형이
So you
오프라인
must have a lot of pressure to face off against Stork.
그렇죠.
좀 부담돼요 솔직히.
네.
네, 그래가지고 오늘
Stork's a very experienced player, obviously
상대가 될것
online and offline.
그래도
I think he's just going to be a tough
자신은
opponent
있으신
overall.
아, 근데 맵이 너무 토스 맵이어가지고.
But you're still confident.
네. 네.
Yeah, but the map
열심히
is
해봐야죠. 네.
favorite for Protoss, I think.
최근 굉장히 스폰
All I can say
좋은
is I'm
걸로
just
제가
gonna play my
아는데 네, 맵이 그런데 마음에 안 드신가요?
아니 근데 요
네.
신맵 나온 지가
What's
얼마
wrong with the
됐는데 맵이 너무 힘들더라고요.
Well, look, it's a new map.
그래가지고
It's weird. I
열심히
don't feel like I've had enough time to study it.
네,
As a
네.
Terran, I feel like Protoss
지금
has a lot
맵이
of
안
tricks they can
좋다는
pull
소리를
off on it.
들었어요. 송병구 선수.
네.
네.
Over here to
지금
Stork.
제가 알기로는 송병구 선수가 신맵
Sock just said the map's good for Protoss.
이거는 나를 위한 맵이다 이렇게 말씀을 하셨다고 제가 들었어요.
제가 언제요?
아닌가요?
잠깐
Do you have any comments to say about that?
그럼요.
Well, I didn't say that.
솔직히 좀 그렇고 이게 대기실에서는 좀
I've never thought this map was necessarily good for Protoss. You must have been confused with somebody else.
네.
근데 제가 해줄 말이 있다면은
Either way, I'm
넌 테란이야.
네? 여기 공식 방송입니다. 네.
왜요?
If I got words to say to him,
테란 유저
I'd say, look,
맞잖아요.
you're Terran.
맞죠.
난 몰라요. 요즘에 이 컨셉 밀고 있어서.
He says this is an official league, Stork.
제가 잠시 혼동을 했네요.
No, I'm fine.
오늘
I'm fine.
최우선 선수
I can still say you're just Terran.
그래도 자신은
Terran
있으시죠?
scum,
네?
네?
테란인데요.
So, anyways, you confident to face off against Stock?
자신 없으신
Sock?
건가요?
He said, what are you talking about?
좀 그런데
He's Terran. So then you're not
알겠죠.
confident.
네, 그러면 오늘 송병구 선수 굉장히 기대도 많이 받고 있고 주목도 지금 많이
He
받고
said,
있을
"Look, let's just see what happens."
오늘 이 세 명의 선수 중
Not the trash talk
이
Bonjo over here.
선수는 정말 가볍게 이기지 않을까 하는 선수가 있다면 누가 있을까요?
So Stork's
없어요.
emphasizing that Terran is a race that is
선수 왜
very
이렇게
good.
자신감이
They can
없어요?
always win.
겸손한 건가요?
아니요, 스폰 승률이 말해주고 있는 것 같아서
네.
Have you been humble, or are you just not confident?
제가 제일 못하고
네. 그래도 또 이런
I think win rate says it
경험은
all.
많으시니까 네,
네,
그래도
그래도 뭐
For win rate, I'm at
준비는
30%.
나름 열심히 했기
She says
때문에
yes, but you're experienced on the big
잘 될
stage.
거라고 믿고요.
That's true, and I have prepared hard.
네,
We'll see what I can pull off.
지금 굉장히 자신감이 좀 필요한
and if it
송병구
doesn't work,
선수인데 자 그럼
I'll just look forward
마지막으로
to
선수
participating in the next season.
네, 한 분씩 가고 들어보도록 하겠습니다.
So, before we start,
선수부터
네. 열심히
Anything you want to say to each
결과
other?
이끌어낼 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
네, 감사합니다.
I'll do my best to
최우석 선수.
advance.
네, 좀 조가
And now you
어려운데 그래도 1등으로 올라갈 수 있도록 열심히
This
하겠습니다.
group is tough for
네,
sure.
김성현
I'm just going to try my
선수일까요?
best.
네, 저도 조가 좀 빡세다고 생각하는데 꼭 올라가겠습니다.
네, 마지막으로 한도열 선수.
진짜 제가 조가
gonna try
진짜
my best to
빡세다고
advance.
생각하거든요. 이
네.
투테란들은
Me?
투테란 분들은 엄청 잘하시는 분들이고 저는 잘 못하.
These two Terrans?
온라인상에서 잘 못하는데
They'll talk like that,
꼭 좋은
but I
경기력으로
actually, they're just going to say that, but I actually truly do believe that this group is very hard for someone like me.
모두 파이팅 넘치는 경기 보여주시기 바라겠습니다.
I don't perform that well enough on
버전과
tournaments, but I do my
새롭게
best.
시작된
And
ASL
that
시즌
should
4
wrap it up for our
지금
interview.
바로 경기를
Already
시작하도록 하겠습니다.
Tonsillitis. I'm very excited to start tonight. We are slowly seeding players to the next phase of the tournament, but even this early on, it's hard, man. This game is so refined. We have newer school players and super old school players. It's going to be fun to see this unfold. Is it going to be the dominant force of players like Flash and that other pantheon of nerd gods like Jaedong and Misu deep in the tournament, or will we have some newer players? Last, somebody who's probably the newest out of all these players. Very, very young.
Out of the top guys, I would
Yeah.
definitely say so. By the way, apologies ahead of time. I woke up with a sore throat today, so
Yeah.
I'm going to be sounding basically like this for the whole day.
Artosis was in the club until 8 a.m. I can't believe you can still party that hard, Artosis.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And now you're here saying that you're a little bit sick when I
saw
know
it-
that you were running around with glow sticks screaming all night.
When I saw that Neeb won,
That's, yeah.
the third of 4 tournaments this year.
And you know what
I had to go crazy. That's
Yeah,
all there was
that,
to it.
that was really exciting. And also, I love that speech he gave about how he trains the hardest
Oh yeah,
out of all the other non-Koreans, because
yeah.
it's true. But a lot of exciting stuff going on in the StarCraft world. The remastered ASL is up and running. It's so cool to have the very best of the best and to welcome in all these new viewers that maybe didn't grow up playing Brood War. Or some of the old guys, of course. Old guys like Artosis and me who played Brood War for most of our lives. It's never too late to start. This game is basically never going to go away.
For sure,
It's played
now
not
it's
just in
here
Korea.
forever.
There's plenty of players outside of Korea. If you want to learn, this is the place to be. And we are going to have this broadcast tailored so that you can have fun and educate yourself on how to play Brood War. Whether you just want to watch or you want to try to become a good player, the best you can be, we're here for you.
Yeah, and it's such a crazy tournament. All the very best players in the world have qualified.
Yeah.
And tonight's group, definitely a very, very strong one. Stork, one of the 4 best players of all time. And then last, definitely one of the current top players on Earth, the second best Terran currently. No one argues with that. He's a monster.
Much younger than everybody else. I believe he's 22.
Is he? Okay.
22, right?
Maybe.
Very, very young compared to somebody like Stork, who's basically our age. So it's kind of crazy. Here's the progression these guys have had so far in the previous ASLs. The ASL, of course, is still a fresh tournament. We're getting some new tournament blood here in the StarCraft 1 scene, now the StarCraft 1 remastered scene.
You see these guys have definitely been around and doing some good jobs here and there. This is... I kind of like this graph, but I think it's just going to be funny when we see flashes and it's just like a straight line at the top.
Yeah. You know, in graphs like this, they get more and more interesting the more tournaments you end up having. As you can kind of see, okay, this is where this is all going. And to see who's really that consistent.
Flash's line just as flat as can be.
Flash's line is actually just in the top part of your monitor. You don't quite notice it at first. You think it's a weird border at the top of the screen, but no, that's just Flash because he wins everything. Last, of course, I think he's got a very promising future here in StarCraft Remastered.
Oh, for sure. He is just a monstrous player. And definitely heavily favored going up against Weir.
I would say so.
Weir.
Weir, there was another old school name, man.
That's right.
One of the best original American players.
Yeah. He's quite a strong player.
One of the guys that was older than us, man. I remember I met him at a tournament.
I'm actually still older than him.
No, you're not older than him.
Yes, of course I am. I'm older than everybody.
No, Ware was older than you. He was like 3 or 4 years older than
What?
me.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he was. I met him, and my mom was there. And my mom
I met him multiple
My
times.
mom brought me to the tournament, and then my mom was like talking him up, and I was super nervous because I'm like, at that age where I'm like, oh no, people are gonna know I have a mom. Like it doesn't make any sense.
I do
But he
wonder
was
how
very
old he
nice and
was.
friendly.
What's he do now, I wonder?
I don't know, he's probably a millionaire.
I would hope so. I think he was trying to become a musician.
He's probably a professional sword fighter. If I had to take a guess. Over here we have. Wait, where? Oh. There.
Oh.
Sorry, guys. I'll.
We might have to rename him Who after this.
Or if he wins, you might have to rename him what? Ware is definitely the underdog of this tournament, but you know, I never want to count anybody out. A lot of these guys have played for a long time. We're all in different places in our lives now. Of course, all these guys are very excited to be back and grinding it out in Brood War. And Ware might have some tricks up his sleeve. You just got to win one game, man. Just
Very
one
true.
game.
And then things can go kind of crazy. We saw Baxter get out with almost nothing. He like attacked, moved some Hydra Ling in his first game, and then Larva attacked his Mutas into Mutas and across the map and lost them all. It was like nothing, and that guy was through to the next round.
Yeah.
So who knows? We'll see what he can do. But Last is one of the two guys that makes all these. It's because of Last and Flash specifically that I just every time I stream right now, which is quite often, I have people come in. Do you think that Terran should be patched?
Oh God.
It's like, well, no. I understand that Flash and Last are the best players basically out there.
The game is fine where it is. It's lasted this long. We've seen different players in different races come out and dominate. And we're just going to continue to make the maps more and more interesting. Game number 1 is going to be on Gold Rush. This is a very weird map. I'm going to save talking about it until we can actually see it on screen. Just because I think it's a little bit trickier to explain the weird features of it without looking at it directly. Last versus Ware, our first game in day 2 of the ASL.
KT Giga Internet. ASL Season 4.
Gotta make sure I was wrong. I can tell for the heart can be blind and frozen. Now I live with the pain every night, every day as I read.
Note the skull on the map.
It's so hardcore.
Meet me on Skull Desert.
Skull Desert. You should name the maps. Gold Rush. What the hell is that?
Skull Desert, man. It's way better. In the bottom right, in yellow, he is Last. Sorry, I'm doing my GSL thing. Sorry, guys. I forgot.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
And then Mental laughed.
That's what it might sound like when his last hatchery dies this game. Okay, so I am actually starting to get an idea. If we actually want for Brood War to truly be revived, we should actually just let you name all the maps.
Yeah, I think we should.
Skull
Desert.
Like, think about the names that maps have. Like, I mean, okay, so we obviously, all of us watching here, we know the StarCraft map names. And they, to be honest, they used to be cooler. Big Game Hunters, that's a cool map.
Who's that guy? Oh, wait a minute. Is that the Great Caster Rassels? Also welcome to the studio. That's not Rassels. Rapid. He's also welcome here.
But, like, I mean, the map names used to be better. Big Game Hunters, that's a really good map name. Big Game Hunters, that's cool. That makes you feel something, right? The Lost Temple. Well, you find out pretty quick it's in the middle of the map, but, you know, it's like, that's a cool map name.
I'm like, don't worry, I found the temple. It's just go right through the middle.
But Gold Rush? Who the hell named this Gold Rush when they could have named it? What did you want to name it? Skull Desert?
Skull Desert is way better.
That's like such. If I'm like playing some other game, right, some other esport, and I hear that there's a match going on in Skull Desert, I'm like, well, I have to tune in just to see what that map looks like. And then I look at this, like, oh shit, there's a skull in that desert. That's awesome.
And look at that Skullertosis. Is it laughing? Or is it screaming?
Yeah. It looks like one of these skulls. What a video game where flaming skulls shoot at you? Must be Legend of Zelda.
Castlevania or something like that.
I think, yeah, something like that.
Something that was on an 8-bit Nintendo for sure. By the way, we have Barracks out in the middle. Well, not in the very middle, but out at what could be a third base on this map. And I got to say, he might try to put some serious pressure on with bunkers and Marines.
Yeah.
It's not a double racks, but it's certainly scary. I'm actually surprised he's even firing at that Overlord. He needs to get there so quickly. Again, guys, you see the eggs on the map? Those are on the map so that in certain matchups you can wall off and workers can still slide through, other units cannot.
Hey, do you think he can put that bunker further back, like maybe in the skull's eyeball?
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a pretty... Well, I think this is a rush that's not engineered to actually kill the hatch.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get it, that's great, but...
You're quite right. By building it this far out, you make the drones come so far away that you're basically gaining money. Look at all the lost mining time that's occurring right now for Ware.
This is super frustrating for Zergs. Terra now comes forward, and he's going to get one drone.
Now look at this. He has to run pretty far away from here because the drones aren't getting around everything. Oh, wow. This
One
is
Marine
really
goes
good
down.
micro from our Terran player.
Yeah, well, I mean, as long as these drones are chasing him, he's in good shape. This is definitely something you can use to beat up a player who doesn't have a lot of experience against this. It's very easy to go into panic mode. So he doesn't really care if the bunker finishes because the threat of that forced the drones to come out.
He's lost 4, 5, 6 drones? Is it 6 drones?
I think 5 or 6, something
it's
like
5
that.
or 6 for sure. So this rush has certainly been successful. Look at that. He's been mining with 3 drones this whole time. He is truly handicapped after all that. That is very, very painful.
Now, see that egg that's at the Terran's entrance where he's walling in here? Lynx can't go through that, but workers can. If he right-clicks on a mineral patch, he can see. But does this wall completely... Is that tight? You're a Terran player.
I believe that is tight. I believe that is tight.
We'll be doing
I have to look at
ASL
the sides of the wall. Okay, the sides are definitely tight. On the left of the depot is tight, and on the right of the depot is tight.
Yeah,
that
I guess
barracks,
they can't fit
I
through
believe
there.
that's a tight wall, if I recall. I haven't walled like that in a really long time.
Yeah, what's going to be 6 years from now, we're still not going to be sure about wall ends.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't-
different on every map.
I'm going to have been playing this game literally for 40 years at some point. Like, that's going to happen as long as I don't die young. And I'm going to be like, God, Tastus, why you put me on the spot of whether this wall is tight? I haven't played Gold Rush. I've only watched it, and I haven't
You got to go the way of the Protoss players who are like, nobody knows for sure. Like,
only LZ Gamer
only
is certain.
LZ Gamer knows for sure. So let's see this. Yep, I think even Zerg was like, is that wall in tight? I'm actually very surprised he's going to hit the depot here.
Well, he breaks in, and then he'll lose every single Zergling. Oh my God, Tastus.
Yeah, that is exactly what Last wanted. So if you look at cost efficiency, it's completely fine to lose the depot for that many lings, and this may mean that this game could seesaw where the Terran can actually put a lot more pressure on later on, since Zerg's going to lose a lot of ground control here.
This was not good by our Zerg player here. This is like...
Oh, and he's still making more lings.
Yeah, the amount of
can't
lings
Baneling
that he
bust
has
on this game,
produced
so.
is crazy. He has made so many. And I really do like the fact that we're seeing the Academy go up really quickly here. Like,
Oh, yeah.
If he just makes like 2 fire bats
Yeah.
and then walks across the map, it's going to be pretty hard to do anything against that.
Definitely a disparity in skill here between these two guys. Now, I'm not sure what Zerg can do at this point in time. The layer is later. Just like in StarCraft 2, Stim is the real moment where Terran can seize control of the map. You know, of course, minus little SCV Marine pushes. But sorry, does the layer started even Artosis? Am I crazy?
No, he hasn't started it yet. He just has like a reasonably large size group of lings, which Last even knows about because SCV got out. Like a lot of times as Terran here, you kill that many lings that came in, and you're like, well, you don't have any more lings.
Yeah.
But he knows because the SCV was out there, so...
So the layer is going now, but basically Stim should be done before the layer is even finished.
Well, he's going to have to make Sunkens, like multiple Sunkens, which is just going to hurt his economy even more. With the amount of lings he's made, the amount of drones he's lost, the amount of mining time that he's missed fighting with said drones, like, this is... Like, the situation is extremely, extremely good for Last.
I'm not even sure as a Zerg player what would be the play here.
You make a lot of Sunkens. Like
no, I mean like talking like past that. Like what's the tech you want to get? Like,
well, the one nice thing about Gold Rush is that your bases are kind of behind those eggs. Some of them are, right? So if he can just sunken out the front enough, Last is staying on 2 racks, you know, to make sure that he can hit this push before any tech comes out, which is a very good plan. So like that in and of itself becomes the comeback mechanic for Zerg. Like he will have a third base mining.
By the way, how long does it take for the Marines to kill these eggs? Are these like normal eggs, or these eggs with added HP? Do we know? I'm actually not sure.
I think they're just standard eggs, but
Okay.
I'm not 100% on that.
Okay, so he's going to try to go for the counter last, is going to easily handle this. Wow, just barely doesn't get that Overlord. And of course, the Ling's now realizing, well, there's not much we can do. I think he might need a 4th Sunken Colony, by the way.
With this many Lings to flank and no fire bats in that control group, I think he has enough right now to hold it. If he brings any more bio, then this is something that gets busted really quick.
He's going to.
I've been running into sunken lines all day, Tasteless. I'm like very fresh on this right now.
You would know. I always find it tricky, especially because I'm not used to controlling Medic Marine. That sometimes it takes a lot of experience to get used to just looking at stuff like sunken colonies and Lings and being like, I can or I cannot get in there, you know?
Yeah. Like a group and a half would break this pretty easily, but not what he has here. Now this group coming up, if this just kind of joins, he needs to start some more sunks right now, I
Possibly
think.
2 more even.
Yeah, at least 1 more and some Lings. Even if he went 2, I would not hold this against him. Like the number 1 thing he needs to do right now is not die.
Oh, the fire bat angle is really good. That means his Ling count has been reduced.
The amount of fire bat kills Lings is just
crazy, man.
Doesn't even make sense.
So, it's a very simple procedure for Terran from here. And a lot of what Terran did after the opening is basic. And I don't mean that in any bad way. I think it's very smart. It's very methodical how he's approaching this. He wants to eventually merge up his army with that army and possibly bust, but at the same time, he wants to make sure there's no other Lings to counterattack. Terran also has the option to try to just keep the Zerg contained and then go back. To make sure there aren't lurkers out on the map, for instance. Although we do see mutas are the tech of choice here.
Yeah, and that's going to be a good tech to just kind of keep him back a little bit. Last is teching up as well. Not too many barracks going into his starport. And he'll, of course, want to get Irradiate very, very quickly here. Still, you have to realize that Ware is not functioning on a huge economy, and Last is completely aware of that. That's like, it's such an important thing to keep in mind what type of economy the Zerg has had throughout the game. And like, I mean, he's pulled his economy together now, but it's quite late, and he had made so many Lings and all that. So Last still in good shape, I would say here, even though Weir has made a very strong defense and is now sitting here on 3 bases and soon to be 3 gas.
I think he wants to tech to Guardians. I see the Queen's Nest coming down here. Doesn't seem like you'd want to go for Defilers off just Muta Ling.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, that can be a shortcut when you're a little bit behind, because if you actually go into Lurkers, like, for instance, how do you maneuver Lurkers over without a Nidus to your base that's behind those eggs? You don't really, right? So, I could see him staying on the air tech and trying something like that, but if Terran sniffs it out in enough time, it's pretty easy to counter the Guardians, right? You just go like 2 or 3 port Wraith and you just stomp it.
So now the army can merge up. I don't know if these mutas are a real threat. I mean, it's something that might keep the Terran somewhat honest.
Yeah.
But Terran, I think, is eventually going to try to go for a push here. Now, the problem is, as many sunks as you have, Lurkers are really what counter. Oh, I love this Valkyrie.
Yeah, that Valk is sick.
So this is more a contemporary Brood War TVZ, excuse me, is that you can start to incorporate some Valkyries. Now, Valkyries, like Valkyrie 1-on-1 versus Mutas doesn't really actually do that well, but the presence of a Valkyrie basically shuts down the option of Zerg orbiting around this and trying to do damage.
Yeah, they're really hard to micro, whereas a Vessel is super easy. Like, you just kind of click on something and then it starts dying. Whereas the Valkyrie has, like, really slow speed. See, like, for instance, right there, it just dies instantly when he comes at it, knowing
it doesn't attack immediately.
Yeah, so it's slow attacking, it's slow turning and stuff, but it definitely put a lot of damage on there. Now,
we've got an old school vanilla push going on here, man.
Yeah.
This is what TVZ looked like even before there were medics in the game, because Brood War wasn't out.
Yeah.
So this is the idea: is you just get up, start getting tanks out there and trying to push through. And this isn't how a lot of TVZs look, but this is still a way to do it based off how the Zerg's playing the game.
Yeah, and the reason why Zerg is putting these Sunkens out a little bit as well, those are just making the Terran siege up a little bit more.
That's
He's just trying to buy as much time as possible. we haven't seen yet, but he has to be going for Greater Spire. That's like
I mean, that's the only thing I can imagine. He's going to pull the trigger, saying there's enough sunken colonies down that he can begin to spill through. And I think this could be the beginning of the end. I don't believe, even with this high amount of Mutalisks, there's enough to properly combat this. One vessel coming in here. Oh, he's got to break it up.
Super dead.
GG. Okay, I like that opening from last, and the closer goes well with it.
Yeah, he did a lot of damage to that initial 8 racks, so good on him for that. Didn't try to go all the way into the base like Light did.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of puts it out in front of his own base there and gets a lot of success. So, you know what was weird to do, or where to do, I don't know why I keep saying that. It's such a weird ID. Niso is his other ID. But anyways, he was so handicapped going into that, and I think it wasn't a bad idea what he did, but last was super on point with that tank timing push.
Yeah.
Like if he was slower, then suddenly there's Guardians and it doesn't work.
You know, I think it was just so clean what lasted, even just getting the Valkyrie out. It's funny because we did not use many Valkyries in TVZ,
No.
not like that.
Super rare.
And it's cool because even though it was initially deemed as not a good unit, like, you know, about a decade ago, probably more than a decade ago, when people figured out that if you just had one present in a group over Marines, it's so much harder for the Butas to micro around. Buta micro, by the way, is one of the strongest abilities you can have in Brood War. And that Valkyrie there denies that. Anyways, great game. Coming up next, Sot versus Stork. Don't go anywhere.
김진수 선수를 모시고 이 얘기 한번 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 네! 광고를 하시잖아요, 퓨마 오늘. 네, 이거 좀 보여드리겠습니다. 오, 자 여러분 오늘 이거 드립니다.
이거예요.
네, 만지지만 내 거다. 벌써부터 지금 김신욱 형님 별명이 뭔지 아세요?
뭐예요? 메가사비?
아우! 얼굴로 웃기게 없잖아요. 김진수 화이팅! 퓨마 화이팅!
저기요, 우리 아빠 좀 찾아주세요. 저기요, 우리 아빠 좀 찾아주세요. 아빠, 이제 나와도 돼.
Halloween 2 is back.
찌 생겼냐?
가슴 짱네.
게임 쓰레기처럼 하네. 니다 같은 칼로 죽여버리고 싶다. 사람이 많이 부정적으로 변하더라고요. 사람을 마주치기가 좀 무섭고
어디론가 숨고 싶었고
정말 죽고 싶죠.
여자로서 굉장히 수치심이 느껴졌고
밥도 잘 못 먹고 잠도 잘 못 잤어요.
당신이 작성한 한 줄의 악성 댓글 누군가에겐 평생 상처가 됩니다.
카차 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 카카오 닙스차 후디스 카카오 닙스차.
뭐 마시지? 좀 가볍고 몸에 좋은 거 없나?
새로 나온 카카오 닙스차 어때?
우와!
카차 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 카카오 닙스차 카차 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 카카오 닙스차 카차 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 카카오 닙스차. 한 번 맛보면 이 매력에 쏙 빠질걸? 건강함에 쏙 빠지다. 후디스 카카오 닙스차.
날카로운 면도날이 이중 윤활 밴드를 만나다 시원함까지 더해진 당신의 면도. 쿨링을 더한 프로실드 7로 당신의 면도를 부드럽고 시원하게. 질레트 프로실드 7, 남자를 위한 최상의 선택.
welcome back. We just wrapped up a pretty cool TVZ last, not surprisingly dominating. This next match I'm much more excited about, though.
Yes, yes. This one's going to be very good. Stork versus Sock. Sock has been performing pretty darn well, to be honest. Just a pretty strong Terran overall.
Oh, is this a song you picked? Ooh. I feel like I'm on one of the harder levels of Mario.
Yeah.
Oh, these blocks are wiggling below my feet. Oh, but then hold on. Now Mario is rapping in Korean. That was a twist I didn't expect.
So ridiculous.
I did not see that coming.
Oh my god. Now Luigi's in there too.
Now Luigi's in there, backing his boy up. All right, let's see what the song of Stork picks. Now let's play this for a little bit longer. This song's pretty good.
No, it's cool.
Oh, here
What
on
do
the
you think
drums.
keeps that pocket there? That breast pocket.
Okay, hold on. Ooh, more of a metal guy.
All right.
Ooh, the laughter. That was him. That was him making his hidden carrier somewhere.
I like it. Once again, Stork asserting his dominance as the Protoss.
That's right.
Definitely better than that Korean rap song. I
know that one with Mario and Luigi singing Korean. That was weird.
So last night I was in Nerd Paradise when I got home after ASL. I actually was watching Stork practice on this map because he was streaming it. He was playing mass games against Ample.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how many, so I watched a few where he was playing against Ample here. And Ample, another Terran that's in this tournament, just he's not like super well known or anything. It's not a name that I'm throwing out there for people like, whoa, Ample, crazy. But he's a pro gamer in ASL and Stork was practicing with him. But Ample was doing like mass dropship. Like flying around with dropships here, you know, there's a lot of terrain that the Dragoons can't really walk over and kind of screwing Stork up with that a little bit. And there were some good games there. I saw one on crossing field as well, so.
It's a cool story.
Yeah, no, I was going to talk more about the actual strategy, but it's starting.
I know, it's got a lot more to say, but it's too late. We're going to Sock versus Stork in the ASL. The map Gold Rush, a.k.a. Skull Desert.
Definitely Skull Desert.
In the bottom right here, we have Sock in the purple, and in the north very top is Stork in the blue.
You know, I think that we should actually talk to someone, whether it be like Blizzard or the ASL officials or someone, and just be like, listen, all I need you to do is give me one good reason why Tasteless shouldn't name the maps.
I think there's something
because
to this.
It's like, well, we've been out here a long time. You've been casting StarCraft as long as anybody, man. So I don't see any reason why you can't name the maps. I think that your map names are just going to be better because these are almost. There are sometimes maps that have Korean names, but normally they have English names, and a lot of times it's like Gold Rush. I'm like, why is this called Gold Rush? Are like people panning for gold? Oh wait, there's no rivers. Why the hell is this called Gold Rush?
We could try renaming the map, Sartosis.
Is it because it's yellow? And yellow is kind of like gold?
Well, it's really more orange though when you look at it, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. But I'm not impressed with Gold Rush, but I am impressed with Skull Desert, and I can't wait to see you name our next map that we'll be seeing in the next game. Anyways, back to watching Stork practice on these maps. It felt like this map, he was having a reasonably hard time against Ample, someone that you would think that he would probably bash mostly, right? But the drop ship type play seems strong, so I'm excited to see if Sock does something like that. He definitely does, like, he plays more like I always think of like Fantasy as like a looser Terran and Flash as a tighter Terran. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, for sure.
And I put Sock more towards that, like Flash, like you better have exactly the right map for Flash to make dropships against Protoss, because he knows he's just going to kill him by making units, right?
Right.
But anyways,
Flash is scarier on. It gets scarier the more basic the map is.
Yes, yes.
It's just like, oh, what am I going to do?
Because his mechanics are just so next level, right? But some people, you know, make their living in a different way. And Sock always kind of strikes me as a guy that is more of one of these looser Terrans, someone who might go for like dropship type plays. So I don't know. I'm excited to see if he does something like that. Whereas Stork just kind of Played very normally throughout the practice games I saw from him.
So, even though Stork did practice for what looked like a normal play, it should be noted that Protoss can do a lot of weird stuff on this map. Protoss have a slight edge, I'd say, just at the start of island maps. But so far, he just has a pylon here in the center right. This is what we call, like, we should probably come up with the term for this, like a semi-island map or something like that. These have become quite trendy. They've sort of done away with full island maps in Brood War, but I actually wish they would bring them back because I thought it was a lot of fun.
Well, I think if it's full island, Zerg just gets too screwed. There has to be something
yeah,
that
but
they
you know
can
what?
do.
People decided that so long ago. I just want to see. I just want to see what does Jaedong do on some full island map, you know?
I think he retires. He's like, no, I'm not doing this anymore, guys.
So the Zealot's coming down here now, and actually going to go right after these Marines. Can he actually get this SCV? I don't think he can.
This is something that I think Sock just very much was not expecting out of Stork, because if you don't SimCity correctly with one of these just 16 CCs with the barracks, then a Zealot sent down is actually a little bit of a problem. Like you see there, he causes some lost mining time, gets an SCV.
I think he makes a robo here at that hidden pylon as well.
He might, yeah.
Sometimes, like Protosses, they'll see the Terran fast expanding and try to expand with them. Other times, they just start hiding stuff around the map. Both are good.
I bet you Stork could pop a DT through there too, by the way.
Through the eggs?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I think you're right. I think that is what he's going to do here.
I mean, you can just kill the eggs as well, but with a probe there, you could actually like put it next to the eggs and then stop the probe as it's mineral walking on the unit and make it jump. I haven't seen anyone try that yet on these maps, but
he's going to see this right away.
Wow.
Is that 4 gates?
I think it's 2 in a robo, maybe? Or it could be 3 gates.
He was going to make a robo. I thought he would have made the robo first.
Because 4 gates is StarCraft 2 build. Like, it could be like a bulldog. I'm trying to figure out what it is, but no one clicked on that building, right? So it looks like 3 gates based on the minimap.
He gets the one Zealot by here.
Wow.
Super annoying. And since those Marines are pulled out of the bunkers, the Dragoons can actually attack the bunker now. He's trying to get a bunker over here.
Pretty good micro here by Sock overall. Doesn't want to lose any of these. Ah, don't lose that.
Now, let's keep in mind those Dragoons, or Zealots rather. Sorry, what am I talking about? Let me try again, guys. The Marines are one-shotted by the Dragoons now because they're so low on HP. And this is awkward right now for Stork because those 2 gateways have been spotted. That's the majority of his production.
This is kind of crazy what we're watching here. The Dragoon pressure at the front. This is all on one base for Stork. This is kind of a crazy all-in that we're watching right now.
If you kill the 2 assimilators, then units can't fit through. Is that correct?
I believe so. So assimilators actually... Ooh, Sock didn't see this coming, so he did not move his SCVs quite quickly enough. Okay, 1 gets through, but actually traps those other Dragoons. A ton of damage going down on
he could just shimmy over here to the left. Ooh, this is down and dirty.
Yeah,
Stork, really technical play here. Now,
yeah. Back to those gases, though, just so people really understand why the gases are there. Assimilators take up less room, and by the way, assimilators have more health than like refineries or extractors. But
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense if they have shields.
It's one of the many things StarCraft 2 pros complain about. But anyways, they when you kill them, a geyser actually takes up more room than an assimilator.
So therefore, if the 2 geysers are connected, then they cannot break through. Actually, he can just skirt away from this as well.
I remember we had another map that had an exact same geyser type setup, but with no eggs there. And I remember if you just killed the assimilators, it would close the path and nothing could get through. So I do believe
we have not gone back to that location, by the way.
Well, he killed 1 at least.
But but you have to kill both, right? Or is it just 1?
I believe you have to kill both.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah. Fairly certain. So the fox is in the hen house tasteless. He's killing all the eggs.
That's right. So now you can see the Dragoons can fit through. Again, if those 2 assimilators that are neutral are destroyed, it locks that area off into basically an island. All right, just getting some zoom in there, the blue goo.
Oh yeah, the zoom in and zoom out features are so sick, man. You can almost see a whole map zoomed out.
Oh, that's funny. So he goes out behind that and then closes this off so Terran can't get a ground army through there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of mind games going on whether or not do you want those assimilators up. In other words, do you want the map open or closed?
Well, this is especially funny that he's closing this door because he thinks Stork is going to rush, and I think that was Stork's original plan, but like, Stork is expanded behind there. So he probably even wants the assimilator going down, right? Like, so that
I think what he wants to do is try to rush through there, do some damage, and then once it's done, close it off.
Yeah.
So it's actually
like light a cigarette and throw your match at the gas station as you walk away, basically.
Basically, yeah. Actually, Terran looks like Terran wants to close that off as well. Sock in a very defensive position here.
Everyone just wants to screw with the assimilators and eggs this game.
Yeah. So for some of you guys that are playing StarCraft Remastered and are just trying to learn the game, maybe you're younger than us and you weren't familiar with it, this is stuff going on that's so advanced you don't have to worry about this when you're laddering, okay?
Yeah, this is maps like this never actually hit standard ladder. They only really hit the pro scene because they're kind of like you really, truly have to understand what the hell you're doing to play a map like.
I would actually love to see if you got to a certain echelon.
Yeah.
On ladder, then they add in new maps or take out some more basic ones.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I wouldn't really mind that too much. But, like, to be fair, what I was saying about how, like, you really got to know what you're doing to play a map like this, I don't know if that's, like, exactly true the way that I just said that.
What did you say again, just to reiterate?
This map is complicated and confusing, but, like, I mean, you can play any map you want in StarCraft, and I've always had fun playing crazy maps like this.
Yeah, me too.
So definitely don't feel like you can't try it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just type in Skull Desert. And
yeah, Google Skull Desert and you'll be there. Terran is not going to push out, I think, for just a little bit here. What's so funny?
You were saying Terran is, I was like, the hardest race.
You cracked me up. The observers are coming down here. Oh! Losing that initial observer that was scouting. You know, that happens a lot more than you'd think it would, too.
Yeah, it does.
The observer just dies so fast, and it's such a sluggish, clunky unit. With actually not a great field of vision initially, not until you upgrade it.
Yeah. Of course, has that speed upgrade as well. Very, very useful.
Very handy.
That's one Tesa should always get, but rarely does.
This is true. Played against me too many times. So we got a lot more gates coming down now. And it looks like Stork wants to play this like it is a standard land map. He knows that this map is very open. There's a lot of opportunity for flanks here for a Terran army. Something like Stork is especially deadly when it comes to that.
Dropship is out, so this is like kind of what Stork was already practicing against. Generally, when you're dropping, right, there's a few different types of drops you can do. Really, to be honest, against Protoss, there's two different drops you can do. A 4 Vulture drop that is going to be laying mines and microing to kill probes a lot. And there is the 2 Vulture, 1 Siege Tank drop. And that's the 2 Vultures buy time, and the Siege Tank kind of ravages a mineral line.
Yeah.
Normally that'll work pretty well in like a very heavily SimCity main base or something. Like, see this escape pattern? If this was a 2 Vulture, 1 tank drop, you kill a huge volley of probes with that.
Absolutely you do.
But this is just the 4 Vulture one. Again, there's some okay damage.
Yeah, always annoying for Protoss to deal with, but you can deal with this. You just got to be ready for it. You know, I think, speaking as a Protoss player, my favorite games are where they're just not dropping me, and I kind of use my Dragoons like a bunch of turrets.
Yeah.
And I'm not really bothered, and I always feel like I can do well. But doing something like this is, you know, it's always hard to handle any kind of harass in a worker line, no matter what race you are. So that's definitely something you want to try to do a lot of. And even if you lose the Vultures in the attack, it's oftentimes pays for itself. It's pretty hard, if the Vultures are present at all, to lose that. Now, Sock is moving to... Oh, sick! Takes the dropship out. Now, I don't believe Stork can pounce on this army just yet. Good scan there, by the way.
Yeah, like, I don't think that he can push fully across the map either here, from Sock's point of view. You know, like, his army is not really that big yet. He needs to get a few rounds of Vultures in there to really buffer for those siege tanks. But then, it is definitely fair game. He's pushing out such a way that there are a couple bases up here that he can start thinking about taking as well. Because he is only on 2 bases still, which is kind of... You know, this is a 6-fact, isn't it?
He's already into the part of the Eye of Skull Desert Orthosis.
Uh-oh.
All right, let's see if the curse is true. I actually don't know if Stork has enough, man.
Well,
he's not sieging.
The thing is, the shuttle is waiting there for a really long time to force him not to siege as well.
Okay, that was a tough call there by Stork. So he kept the shuttle over there because he said, all right, the moment you siege, I'm going to drop this.
Yeah.
And Sock was actually very patient. He did a great job.
They both did that really well, I think.
Yeah.
That was actually very impressive on both sides. A lot of times you see someone panic, you'll be like, oh my god, that's a lot of Dragoons, and siege up in the Zealots wreck, or vice versa, the Protoss will panic a bit. But this is a good setup now, as long as he's really rallying out. Should be really good to hold on to this. Oh, he's got to be careful, though.
He's going to unsiege. Okay, now this is a very tricky little game you got to play. As the Terran, you don't want your siege tanks to fire at the drop Zealot on your tanks because the splash damage can kill it.
Oh.
Zealot! Oh.
Okay, so this is a funny bug.
Yeah.
You can put an observer on top of a turret that's finishing.
That's legal in our tournament, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Stork wouldn't care, right?
Oh, yeah. Remember that. It was using that bug in WCG, man.
Yeah, it was actually illegal, and Stork didn't know, and Tasus caught him.
I actually busted. That's true. I busted Stork at WCG.
Tasus tattled on Stork in a tournament, guys.
It's true, man. I was guessing. I'm like, which of the refs? I'm like, I think that's illegal. Okay, so he's gonna back up now.
But anyways, that turret bug, guys, definitely use it. It's fantastic because you normally don't build too many turrets, and there's normally a period where there's all the Marines died, but there's no Goliaths yet, and that's oftentimes where turrets are being built.
So if you put an observer on top of the turret,
exactly,
you right-click it, and right before it, as it finishes, the thing won't spin unless they spam stop on it.
Yeah, it's very annoying for the Terran.
I actually think Sock's gonna run him over.
Yeah,
man. I don't think
looks
these
like
angles are quite good enough. Sock very good with the unsieging. All these tanks from the red. Hold up, no, that next wave of Zealots.
Oh, that wave of Zealots might actually just turn this into his favor. Even though he's going to end up losing those Zealots, he needs to... Wait, I guess he only has 2 Dragoons right there. I was like, he needs to pull back those 2 Dragoons. That's critical. Oh, man, but this is really good play by Sock. He's done a great job with only 1 Vulture drop really mixed in there. But let's not forget that Stork opened up with 1 base and, like, 4 gates.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, he was 4-gating, like it was the Wings of Liberty.
Yeah.
Okay, like I don't even know what that is. I've never even seen that in StarCraft 1. That doesn't even exist. 4 gates, 3 gates in a robo exists.
4 gates you can't support.
Yeah, 4 gates.
I guess he didn't want to make anything else out of his main gate, and then he just want to use those 3 over there for some kind of weird rush.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now Terran's pushing in here, and although the Protoss can try to play that refugee on the run game on this map, I think it's going to be very difficult against Sock, especially the way this map is structured.
He's got his Forge and his Templar Archives here in this natural. This is not somewhere that he can lose right now. He really needs to hold at this point, but this push is just being done so well by Sock. He has no room to do anything else. He can't even really send this Arbiter.
I don't believe he even has enough for stasis just yet here. I think he's almost there.
That D-Matrix was cash money too.
Oh yeah, for sure. The science vessel over here, and now even the turret hitting the Arbiter. Okay, he gets a stasis off, but like
now that's a good stasis. Well, that gives him a few minutes, right, to break this now.
In my experience, because there are tanks behind this, right? Okay,
yeah, there's a few.
Problem is, this is going to thaw. The stasis will eventually go away, and it's just going to be so much. So many units behind it. You know, I mean, Terran can slow down,
his rally
catch his breath, and push back in.
Yeah, his rally's been fantastic. You're very right. Like, as this thaws, it becomes unbreakable. Like, as long as the mines don't get too close to the siege tanks. Oh, man. Yeah, it's about to unthaw, too.
Yeah, I think any second now.
It's only as long as the Ice Age, so there you go.
It
it's
takes
done.
so insanely long. It's so weird.
I'm glad that you agree.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, there's even moments where I'm waiting for that Terran army to come, and I'm like over it. I'm like, come on. Terran just goes back and sends in a big army, and eventually...
Yeah, you have enough time to make like 2 full rounds of units and go out and get your units back from the thaw. It's like really
kind of
weird.
crazy. I think we're going to see Stork tap out here. He doesn't have to just yet. He has to reset all the rallies on his gateways, though, at the bare minimum.
Yeah, the only saving grace is that Sock is on 1 base economy and not enough. So that's interesting that Stork really tries a very aggressive, cheesy build here. But Sock holds it pretty easily. Like that SCV scout, seeing those gates that were proxied, that was a very, very important moment right there.
So, Sock just did not really get phased by what Stork was trying to do early on. Stork was crafty, but there did not seem to be a proper endgame plan there. Yeah. You always have to have enough to answer a Terran, and it's harder than it looks. Sometimes you try anything sneaky like that, you're basically at a deficit. The scariest thing for you, if you're proxies or cheeses didn't work is actually the standard push.
Yeah, the standard push is the counter to that. It was a good play by Sock, seeing how late the nexuses were, to just go into a 6 factory play there. Because like the 6 factory play against normal Protoss play can be effective, but especially when their macro is starting late.
Well, I think Stork can still definitely get through this group, but it's going to be tough.
He's going to have to beat one of those Terrans on Fighting Spirit if he is to do it, but I think he definitely can take out Weir without any problem. I saw him...
I would imagine. So
yeah.
Weird, or where?
I'm sorry, I don't...
It's okay. No, because
Miso.
He actually has to do...
I'm sick today. I'm sorry, Taste.
That's okay. I know that when you're sick, you say the wrong IDs.
It's just,
okay.
You're
fine.
I do. It's part of my sickness.
Coming up next, we have a TVT. Last versus Sock. I think that should be pretty good. Do not count Sock out in TVT.
Oh, yeah.
He's had a lot of success
doable.
in previous ASLs due to his great Terran versus Terran. But I think it's fair to say Last should win that.
Yeah, he's a favorite.
Unless it's Flash, Last should win. Anyways, we're going to go to a break. We come back, the winner's match. Stay tuned.
따라서 한꺼번에 끝나면 김동이 매주 8강전을 진행할 거예요. 여기 계시면 섭외 되신 분들은 매주 8강전을 진행하신다고 보시면 되고 8강전을 진행해서 1위를 뽑고 그 주 1위가 이제 전주 1위랑 결승전을 진행해서 상금을 타가는 형식이고요. 6주 동안 1위를 계속하는 만약에 그런 단계가 생긴다면 그 팀은 최종적으로 1,000만 원까지도 받아갈 수 있는.
지금 정해야 되는 게 룰인데
서든 유저들을 대상으로 하는 어떤 이벤트 개념이면 클랜전 룰을 그냥 도입을 해서 그냥 쫙 가는 게 맞고
똑같은데 결승을 챔스룰로 그냥 라운드제로 하는
밸런스가 다 따져봤을 때 챔스룰식으로 그냥 대회룰로 해도 재밌을 것 같은데.
그러니까는 이게 컨셉이 복면가왕 그 컨셉이야. 다 치러서 올라오고 가왕이 한 명 있잖아. 그 컨셉으로 생각하면 쉬워.
그러면 결승에 간 팀은 있잖아요. 블루웨이
고 지난주 우승자가 내준 거네?
네, 그죠.
네. 선레드, 그 다음에 선블루 선레드네? 3주 이선.
네. 그리고 총 제한.
총제한
네.
샷건이나 이런 건 어차피 안 쓰고
그 세발건이라고 있는데
웨스틴 벤트
이거는 웨스틴
너무 차이가 너무 심해. 이제 개인 방송을 해.
스나들이 그것만 들고 직진하면서 쏘면 못 이겨요, 라플들이.
그거 빼.
추첨이요? 아주 잘 나왔어요. 첫 경기에 솔직히 그냥 제가 라플에도 이길 것 같아요.
와 비주가 좀
그리고 또 가왕 자리도 지키고 있는 맹밍이 쟤는 그냥 귀여운데 못하는데 어떻게 가왕 자리 저기 왜 가 있는지 모르겠어요.
저번 멸망전에서 별명을 미끼스나라는 별명을 얻었거든요. 솔직히 좀 더럽게 못했어요.
미키스나 이하연 그냥 솔직히 별로예요. 이거 아까 퍼피는 어떻게 맞다니까. 여자친구 있는 사람보다 힘없는 거야? 저희가 그때 저번 멸망전에 조시 팀한테 4강전에서 졌어요. 그래가지고 이번에 밟아야죠.
껌이죠, 그냥. 밟고 그냥 지나가는 그냥 껌이라고 생각하고 저희가 그냥 뭐 가지고 그냥 장난감으로 가지고 놀 것 같아요, 그냥. 올라갈 가능성이요. 근데 진짜로 제 하기에 다른 것 같아요. 제가 그날 컨디션이 일단 제가 술을 안 먹어야 돼요. 이제 6주 동안 이게 진행을 하잖아요. 6주 동안 일단 이제 나이가 이제 나이인지라 이제 34살이기 때문에 이제 술 먹은 다음날 이제 마우스 잡기 힘들어요. 손이 떨리기 때문에.
아, 저희는 서든의 키티팸이라서 누가 올라오든 상관없고 저희는 돈만 챙겨가겠습니다.
저는 이게 서드 할 때 한 번도 진 적이 없어요. 지금 PD님께서 저를 처음 보시지만 진짜 저는 거의 100판 하면 99판 정도? 이게 팀들이 저랑 이제 같이 하면 이제 또 스포트라이트를 못 받으니까 그래가지고 또 제가 그냥 해설로 그 양님들을 위한 배려? 제가 나가면 또 밸런스 파괴 제가 일부러 해설로 더 넓은 폭넓은 해설로 완전 상위권 위에서 아래를 내려보는 해설 그 해설로 여러분들께 좋은 말을 해드리는 거죠.
Welcome back, guys. It's time to go into a TDT to die for. Yeah. Sock and last. This is about as good as it gets. But what about Flash? I know. Okay. Flash is also good, but these guys are right up there. They can hold their own against even Flash. Last, at least on paper, should be the dominant player, but I think Sock is a little bit more robust than people give him credit for, especially in the matchup TBT.
Sure, and there's so many openings in TBT, and especially on a map like this where you get a free natural that has a gas. So, like, you can do anything. You know, a lot of times you're going to want to open with Vultures just to have, like, map control. It's a long map as well, but, like, on this map, since you just have a... Like, you can just wall your ramp, and Vultures can't do anything. You see Vultures ever try to kill Supply Depot up a ramp? Doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
That's how I go to sleep at night is I count Vulture shots killing a depot till I pass
up
out.
a ramp,
yeah, up
too.
a ramp.
It's like,
and
you wake up in the morning and there's one SCV repairing it, and you're like, oh no, it's at full health.
The winner of this match escapes to the next round of the ASL as we are quickly filtering our players out. After this match, we will have a ZVP, Ware versus Stork. But for now, these two guys are going to fight it out. We're going to see who's more dominant TBT in this one-on-one map.
KT Giga Internet, ASL Season 4.
Gotta make sure I was wrong. I can tell for the heart can be blind and frozen. Now I live with the pain every night, every day.
It's kind of an odd transition. Almost sounded like the power went out. Okay, bottom right Sock, upper left last.
There's Sock.
But who's that? Oh, it's last. Okay, got it.
Look at that. You see that hole in the floor?
I know, I was about
coming
to
out of
comment
it?
about that.
It's like the cover to that hole
TV.
is just like laying there next to it.
Yeah.
Like, wow, someone was very lazy today when they were plugging whatever that is in.
Yeah.
I really like that in the camera shot. That's a good. I wish we could go back there and see that again.
I wish we had just a mini cam on that in the bottom right with that hole there.
Well, now that we know that that is hollow underneath, maybe next time
treasure there.
Next time someone does one of those builds like yesterday with Light, where he just makes a barracks and it gets scouted so he loses, we can open up the bottom of the floor and drop them into a pit. I don't care what's in the pit. It can be spikes, it can be alligators, it can be sharks. It can be venomous spiders. It can be spiders that aren't venomous and they think they're venomous.
Yeah, but they're just scary and creepy.
Yeah, someone painted their backs red so you think they're all Black Widows. They're not. It was really elaborate.
So, as Artosis was saying, you do get a free expansion in the back of your base, which can change a lot of the decision-making for the openers here in a Terran versus Terran. Now, you can still do weird cheese, by the way. It's still available. One-on-one maps in RTS kind of always lend themselves towards it being allowable to try to hide something on the map. And we might actually see Last do that here with this SCV. Then this SCV could be checking for proxies.
Yeah.
Also possibly tries to hide something somewhere.
I think it's like everyone's just going to check for those proxies because that's like the only thing that can really hurt you. It is a long map anyways. So like if there isn't something right there, like we even saw Sock check inside of his main base.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, well, I guess you could have sent one of your original SCVs and built a barracks in here, but that's about it. Now, it looks like we might see, yeah, this is a CC at the front here from last. So if I could be so bold as to predict how he has to go with this, if he doesn't get good scouting intel, he probably has to go into vultures from here because that natural is really wide open. If you have a small natural, you can sim city with like a bunker and live through vulture attacks.
Yeah.
But this one's pretty big, so I would say that it's very likely that he's going to open up with vultures and have map control because of that. Now, Sock is taking that back one, and that means that he has the full range of what he can do. Like, whatever strategy in the entire universe that he wants, he can go 2-port Wraith, he can go, you know, just siege tanks right off the bat, really whatever he likes.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but at least in my understanding of TVT, and I feel like this is the matchup that is in some ways the most mysterious to me. I do wonder, is it more the rule of the openness of the natural is what allows for vultures to be an option? Is that basically it?
Vultures are always an option just because you don't have to make a lot. And the thing is, like, when you're making vultures, it allows you to power. It saves you a bit of gas so you can make more facts.
And I guess you're not spending that many minerals, even though the vultures come out that fast.
They give you sick reconnaissance and just having mines out. Terran Mech can get through minefields, but like it gives you so much vision. It gives you have map control if you went vultures. That's that. You have map control. And the guy who didn't go vultures does not have it. So it's super strong, but like on specific maps, sometimes you just have to do it. Like if you go CC first here and you have an open natural like this, I mean, Last can do whatever he wants. He can go into 4 barracks fire bats if he wants, but he's going to die, right? Like, if his opponent were to go Mass Vultures and he was trying to tech up with that natural, then he could take a lot of damage from that. Now, this was a fantastic scout, though. Oh, my God.
How did he get vision of the minerals to slide through?
Okay, so when his last SCV was there, a little trick you can do is before your other SCV dies, you right-click a mineral patch with another SCV. And against some races, you will actually be able to get in there if they're blocking the ramp. Like, some will have enough damage output to actually stop that, but generally speaking, this early in the game, you can do it.
I actually almost forgot about that. Wow.
That was like my thing for a while. I used to wall in all the time, and I would actually stack 2 SCVs and right-click a mineral patch because all the Protosses in America were so cheesy. And I let them, like, wiggle behind my wall for a minute, and then I'd let him go out so I'd see the tech 100%. And then I learned about economy and realized that that was terrible.
Well, back in the day, it was all about just trying to figure out what they're doing. People would always scout after Pylon or...
I viewed it as a strategic game and not the mechanical game it was at that point.
And of course, if you did do that, right, and your worker got up there, people would really pause again and go, "Cracker!"
Yeah. I definitely did get some hack accusations. Looks like both sides are going to open vultures, which is totally like legit and kind of smart in a lot of ways. If you do not open vultures, then you will get, you know, your opponent will control the map, and that's not something you want.
There's a starport being made back here for last. Is there a starport being made here for Sock? I did
not see a starport for Sock.
We see the 3 factories here, but there's something in the bottom, in between the back expansion.
What he's done is he's actually skipping speed for his vultures right now, which allows him to have the gas to make that starport. And the funny thing in this matchup about the Wraith is, like, the Wraiths don't generally do much damage, but like if he makes 1 Wraith, that forces Goliaths. And Vulture Tank beats the hell out of, like, anything that has Goliaths in it.
Right.
Like, early game and mid game, Vulture Tank is the ultimate. Like, super early, it's all about the Vulture, and then Vulture Tank controls everything. So if you can force any Goliath amount out with some Wraiths, that can be very, very good, and you kill things like barracks that are spotting.
By the way, in mirror matchups, the general rule is the units with speed will always beat the units without speed. I remember that was like the first thing I ever learned in Brood War when I was playing on my mom's laptop in my room. Like, one of my first games was I was making Lings, it was ZVZ, he had his Overlord over my stuff. Hold up.
Okay, so this is really cool. See, last moving out right now, I actually do not like that move out whatsoever. Sock has a far superior position, as you see, targeting down the Vultures exactly as he should. Vultures kill Vultures relatively quickly. They take a while in a siege tank, but this was a terrible blunder. A terrible blunder here by Last.
This can actually snowball now.
Yeah, Sock is going to win this game. Like, a position like this for a Terran player, this is easy to finish out. Like, he's going to kill so many SCVs here.
Yeah, and the thing is, the SCVs can never contend with the Vultures. And that, I think, might be game. Now, he could eventually get his own tank out, but see the mines coming down here now. Now, if he can pollute this area with enough mines, then the game kind of ends at some level.
Oh man, he's killed so much. Yeah, there's a couple raids going, but by now, like, Sock should have made an armory most likely.
By the way, SCVs and vultures do not set off mines. It should be noted. It is known, Khaleesi. And
you know nothing.
You
tasteless.
know nothing. Taste snow. They call me based snow.
Based snow.
Yeah.
No, you're John Tastgarian.
Well, I actually have to say, I'm surprised to say it, but Last is not dying there. I really thought he would. Now, if he can get these SCVs correctly repairing this raid, oh my God, he didn't do it right.
Just barely gets it. It's super hard to actually pull that off. But look, this was a huge advantage for Last. I'm so shocked. For Sock, sorry. I'm so shocked that Last went across the map with slow vultures and a siege tank. If, like, he got an SCV through. Remember, we were specifically talking about that. When you see an add-on spinning in 3 factories after a fast expansion, 100% of the time vultures are making.
Yeah.
Well, like 100, like vultures just give you that control, and like the normal thing to do on a map like this is just keep your vultures on high ground. You see them coming, and then you're like, "Hey, look at me! I have more vultures," because you made a siege tank, and that takes a long time to make.
Yeah.
And then you kill all their vultures, and then you kill their siege tank. Like if you were targeting their siege tanks, they would win the battle. Yeah. But all you do is this tiny little micro of killing vultures, and it's over.
Yeah, shift click it like that, and you're going to be in good shape. Sock now getting an additional base, putting him in another advantage here against Last. Last has to tear through this minefield. Now, tanks instant fire. Unlike the vultures, which the animation of the projectile has to connect to the target before the damage is done, a tank fires like that. See, it fires immediately. So, one of the good ways to try to take out a Terran player who's going to try to move through the minefield without vision, because the mine pops up, you can fire it, then it'll come at you.
Yes.
As you want to stack the mines very heavily on top of each other so that too many of them pop up and everything just gets annihilated.
Now, one thing to mention is the speed with which something stops to attack. You're very right, the grenade comes out of the vulture, so that takes time for the attack animation, but tanks, while they do have an instant attack, it takes them longer to stop an attack. Actually, the greatest unit at just killing mines as they pop up is a Goliath.
Yeah.
Like, you can attack move Goliaths through a giant minefield, and they'll basically clear it. They'll very rarely get hit. But of course, you don't really want Goliaths against ground units, so that can be a tricky balance as well.
As you can see now, we have Cloak getting upgraded over here. Last playing catch up by trying to get that third base up and running, but Last has basically reclaimed control of his side of the map. The mine's no longer a threat. Sock already setting up a position so that Last will have a harder time pushing him on his high ground area on the side of the map. It should be pointed out, it doesn't look clear to the naked eye unless you played a ton of Brood War, but there's basically a ramp that goes up. See that to the left? That's high ground. Then that's a ramp going down. Yeah. So it can look kind of funny, but that's what's going on there. So it's not a flat surface. And you have a major advantage if you're on high ground fighting low ground.
Now, is something interesting the Observer just showed. First off, there's a Valkyrie, which is kind of neat. Like, obviously that is to go against the Wraiths that Sock is making right now, but he's not super committing. He's just getting some with Cloak, which is always like kind of a fun thing. If your opponent has some Wraiths and you have some Wraiths, it's like, okay, can I catch his Wraiths off guard? Because if you just wipe them suddenly, like if you get in there, get the first volley, you're going to win. So that could be a very, very strong move. But something very interesting, neither side is getting +1 attack.
Yeah.
And in TVT, you want to rush towards +2 mech as quickly as possible. The whole game dynamic changes. Tanks two-shot tanks at that point when they're in siege mode. And the difference between 2-shot and 3-shot can be felt in your bones, Tasteless.
Yes.
It is the most brutal difference in the universe for any upgrade. It's like, against +1 attack, you can break tank lines. Against +2 attack, do not even waste your time. You may as well just take more expansions.
Hey, you know, what's crazy about that in TVT is since everything kind of comes down to the tank. A lot of games with Terran, everything's sort of centered around the tank being such a powerful unit. But there is another story going on in this game, and that's Last getting ready to try to flip this upside down with air dominance. He's getting a few more Valkyries with those Wraiths. Now, there's not a ton of Goliaths on either side here. And even if you have a great tank position, you can absolutely dominate a pretty good ground area by just getting Wraiths over there and taking the tanks out and driving them back.
Now, this is a good move by Last. I like this a lot. He's starting to control more of the map. That top left base is actually one of Sock's bases. And this map splits diagonally from the games that I've seen on it so far, and just by kind of the feel, right? Because the fourth base is always going to be that one right there that we're looking at, and then it's natural to stay on the high ground from there, right? So it just kind of makes sense to keep that area. But if Last could control that top left base, that would be like a really big deal.
There is a command center over here in the top right, which would be a very good target to try to get this air army over if he can do that. But this is what TVT starts to look like at around this phase of the game, is that the map begins to get cut in half. And people are looking for openings anywhere. If it stays like this for an incredibly long time, we sometimes go into battlecruiser tech. I don't think we're going to necessarily have it this game.
Yeah, this map is big enough that we might not, but it's getting split pretty hard, right? So you see how he's starting to build turrets on both sides? It's actually going more and more towards that. Like, you can go Wraiths instead. There are different ways to go air at the end of the game. Like, if you go Wraiths quickly enough before they've mined up enough and maxed out to the point where they make a billion turrets, then Wraiths can break everything. Of course, if you are just in super turtle mode, like you have, you're not losing any units, so you just put all your money into turrets, then battlecruisers can be the way. But this game is starting to look like it could go there. If they both stay on high ground on their sides of the map and continue to build turrets, like, if the game does not start to really go in one direction very, very soon, then we are looking at a 40-minute game.
Absolutely we are. Now, it's a lot of heavy lifting here for both sides to try to push through, but we do see this technique used of scanning. Since you see further, the tank can fire farther than its actual vision. You siege up just outside of where their siege tanks are and then hit them with a scan. But insane drop here by Sock is getting set up, and I'm not clear. Well, hold on.
I don't know where he wants to go. Sometimes you can use that to break a line that doesn't have too many Goliaths in it or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you drop an expansion or the main, but you can if you want to. That's so many drop ships.
That is so
many. You can if you want to try to drop them on an army, but I think just judging by the number of drop ships, Sock is going to go for the jugular here and just try to end this game. Like, this is going to be the most important moment of this game here.
He's actually decided this is not going to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
This
guy says, F you Artosis, I'll decide when this game ends.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of them is about to decide that. If he flies in those turrets, these Wraiths are going to make a beeline for, oh my god, they move away from where the drop ships are.
I think he's going to draw them away with his own Wraiths.
Oh, that would make so much sense too.
Here we go. They're headed up north. Oh, man.
Well, that is a huge drop-off. How many Goliaths does he have? I don't know if he actually has enough Goliaths in here.
No, I think he's actually
okay. Yeah, he does. Never mind.
Well, we can't.
Some of them didn't unload.
We don't really know what's happening in this fight with these animations, but so that's going to be a GG. Last and a big upset. Loses to Sock with a pretty wild, massive drop there.
That was a really strong move by Sock.
If that had not worked for Sock, Sock would have lost.
Yeah.
You don't ever have that in TVT. But he said, all right, I'm going to get my lucky coin out.
Doom drops absolutely can work. And the thing is, Last technically could have broken that, but the amount of time it would take and the amount he would lose, he may as well save his energy and beat the next guy.
Last is pretty salty, understandably so.
Do we have confirmation that what you said is true, that Sock drew his Wraiths away with his own Wraiths?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
I think he probably did, though.
That's what I thought when I saw them going down. I thought that seems a little bit strange.
If he did that, because why were they going down there?
That's we need to get that Overwatch lady's voice. Play of the game.
Yeah.
Wah, wah,
well, that's just
wah.
if that's what he did and what happened, and I think you are completely right. That's amazing. That's such a good play.
네, 정말 깔끔한 경기력으로 16강 진출에 성공을 했는데 정말 기쁘시죠?
That was a flawless performance. You must be feeling great.
옛날보다는 좀 덤덤한 것 같아요.
진출이 이제 아무래도 계속 되다 보니까 좀 당연한데 무대다.
아니요.
일단 I thought I did all right. Excuse me.
가야 된다고 생각해가지고 좀 덤덤한 것 같아요 옛날보다.
그럼 오늘 경기력은
I always thought advancing to the round of 16 was a sure thing.
원래 처음에는 아예 긴장이 안 돼가지고 왜 이런가 싶었는데 병구 형이 그 3시에 게이트를 본 다음에 너무 긴장되더라고요. 그래가지고 그 이후에 너무
I
제가
don't know why I
원래
don't get nervous.
G게임인데 그냥 어거지로 이긴 것
But I
같아요.
think after I saw Stork's face, when I was doing that push, I actually got nervous for a second.
특히
The match against Stork was actually
게이트웨이지만
a little bit scary
드라군들이
for me.
앞마당 쪽에 뚝 들어와서 계속해서 그 타격을 줬잖아요. 그때 당시만 하더라도 아 이거
Learn how to hold your mic.
좀 이거 지금 힘들겠는데 뭐 이런 생각하지 않았을까요?
아 처음에요?
예.
아 처음에는 무조건 막을 거라고는 생각했어요.
So you thought you were gonna lose back there?
올인이
And that big attack
올 줄 알고 너무 방어적으로 했는데 병구 형이 그냥 너무 잘
I
째가지고
thought I played too defensive in the
있더라고요
Stork game,
게임이.
to be honest.
플레이 보니까.
I thought he was going to do something kind of crazy all in or
3렉
something.
본 다음에.
예. 그리고 나서 빅토리를 굉장히 많이 늘렸지 않습니까? 그 드랍십의 역할.
In my mind, I was just
이렇게
so convinced
확장들이
by a
많고
possible all
거의
in.
단산막 같은 경우에는 드랍십을 다수 활용해주면서 드랍 공격 위주로 진행을 하다 보면 경기를 좀 하면서 풀어나가는 경우가 있는데 거의 뭐
So you did this
형태로 한 번
dropship
정도만
oriented game.
보여주고
It's huge play
지상군의 모든
back
것을
there.
투입했거든요.
네네 일단 드랍십으로
It's
페이크를
pretty
준
tricky to pull
다음에
that off.
방어적으로 만든 다음에 러시 가는 게 목표였는데
It's hard to pick your opponent out with that.
유리했다가 상황이 불리해져가지고
Yeah, so
저 있더라고요.
So
그래가지고
my
막힐
plan
줄
was to do a
알았는데
fake with the dropships.
통한 것 같아요 러시가.
예, 자신이 불리한 상황에서도 잘 풀어나갔던 최호선 선수였기 때문에 이렇게 16강으로 진출을 한 것 같고 마지막 경기는
I thought it was
어땠습니까?
okay. It was risky, but it was okay.
배럭을 먼저 지었는데 상대는 커맨드 센터가 떡하니 지어지고 있었거든요.
Does anyone have a bigger tie?
원래 저도 긴장돼가지고 불리한 줄 알았는데 게임을 해보니까 성현이가 더 긴장한 것 같더라고요. 그래가지고 좀
I thought I was really
쉽게
behind.
이긴 것 같아요 생각보단.
그러면서 9드랍십. 원래 이 테란 대 테란전에서
But
한
in the games, I
번에
actually
갑자기
felt like Glass was
9드랍십 처음
overall more
나타나는
nervous than I
경우는
was.
참 보기 힘들잖아요. 조금 쓰거나 뭐 레이스 막 싸움하다가 갑자기 드랍십들 하나 둘 쌓이는데
what I'm asking is it's really unusual to see 9 dropships like that.
그걸로 그냥 끝내버리겠다 그런 생각이었습니까?
네 원래 제가 레이스를 좀
How
안
did your opponent?
써가지고
Do you think
성현이가
the last man should not
레이스를
notice
생각하고
that?
있을 것 같아가지고
So I
원래
played a lot of games with the Wraith style.
승리
So I think
유리되지 않았어요.
Last was probably expecting me to try to match him with Wraiths.
드랍십 잘 봤습니다.
So I just hit my dropships really well that game.
최호선 선수를 응원해주신 팬 여러분께 인사 한 말씀 하시죠.
Any words to your fans?
저는 좀 조가 어렵다고 생각했는데 그래도 무조건 뚫어야 된다고
I thought my group was pretty tough.
좀 얘기를 많이 들었어요 2주에서.
But like I've said, I've always had the mindset that no matter what, I'm going to get out.
오늘 이겼으니까 2승으로 올라왔으니까
I did feel a lot of pressure though to win today.
네, 가서
But since I'm advanced.
그럼 개인 방송에서 또 오늘 승리의 축배 볼 수 있는 건가요?
네,
I'm going to go get some drinks tonight after the show.
축하드립니다, 최호선 선수. 네, 축하드립니다.
So you're going to be doing a drinking stream tonight? You
자,
said, yep, that's
지금까지
the
오늘의
plan.
승자인
I'm going to have a
최호선
party
선수와
online.
이야기 나눠봤습니다. 저희는 잠시 후에
like
패자전
Sock.
대결로 돌아오겠습니다.
He's kind of funny.
He's the most base pro gamer out of everybody here.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, Ware versus Stork. Look out! The losers match.
김진수 선수를 모시고 이 얘기 한번 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 네! 광고를 하시잖아요, 퓨마 오늘. 네, 이거 좀 보여드리겠습니다. 오, 자 여러분 오늘 이거 드립니다.
이거예요.
네, 만지지만 내 거다. 벌써부터 지금 김진우 형님 별명이 뭔지 아세요?
뭐예요? 강아사비?
아우!
얼굴로 웃긴 게 없잖아요.
김진수 화이팅! 퓨마 화이팅!
저기요, 우리 아빠 좀 찾아주세요. 저기요, 우리 아빠 좀 찾아주세요. 아빠, 이제 나와도 돼.
Halloween 2 is back.
왜 이렇게 X 생겼냐?
가슴 작네.
게임 쓰레기처럼 하네. 네 니다 같은 칼로 죽여버리고 싶다. 뭐 사람이 많이 부정적으로 변하더라고요.
사람을 마주치기가 좀 무섭고
어디론가 숨고 싶었고
정말 죽고 싶죠.
여자로서 굉장히 수치심이 느껴졌고
밥도 잘 못 먹고 잠도 잘 못 잤어요.
당신이 작성한 한 줄의 악성 댓글 누군가에겐 평생 상처가 됩니다.
카차, 카차, 카차. 카카오 닙스차, 후디스 카카오 닙스차.
뭐 마시지? 좀 가볍고 몸에 좋은 거 없나? 새로 나온 카카오 닙스차. 어때? 우와!
카차, 카차, 카차. 카카오 닙스차. 카차, 카차, 카차. 카카오 닙스차. 카차, 카차, 카차. 카카오 닙스차.
한 번 맛보면 이 매력에 쏙 빠질걸?
건강함에 쏙 빠지다. 후디스 카카오 닙스차.
날카로운 면도날이 이중 윤활 밴드를 만나다. 시원함까지 더해진 당신의 면도. 쿨링을 더한 프로실드 7로 당신의 면도를 부드럽고 시원하게. 질레트 프로실드 7, 남자를 위한 최상의 선택.
It is time for ASL Season 4.
ASL Season 4. I can't wait for this game. I'm curious to see how Stork's going to do, because Stork should win, which would mean it's going to be Stork versus Last. And honestly, I think Stork can beat Last, even though I think Last is a more refined player.
Stork's PVT recently hasn't looked super duper good. Like, actually, there was a little tiny tournament down really close to my house that Rapid and I went to the other day.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it was like last week. And it was like Shine versus Flash in the first round and Stork versus Jaedong in the first round. And Stork actually punked Jaedong.
No kidding.
Like, he really wrecked him, man. Like, he... He took his lunch money and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But then Flash took everyone's lunch money.
Hey, what was that technical term for stealing someone's lunch money that I forgot? There's some technical term for basically the equivalent of that. I don't know. Someone tweet that at us.
It's called stealing. You're like, oh yeah, that's it.
No, there's some slang word for it that's really funny. Okay, we are in game. In the upper, in the upper left is Stork, in the lower right is Where.
Yeah, so anyways, like, Stork's PVT not looking as good as his PVZ right now, in my opinion. The last map is Fighting Spirit. Do you have to point that out?
Artosis. This is why Stork is my spirit animal. He's sending a probe out right away. Could be for a gas steal, definitely something you can do on this map. Could be for a proxy. Protoss have so many dirty tricks.
Yeah,
they could try early on.
I would be pretty surprised if he was. Well, this is a Zerg, so I'd be surprised.
Oh,
if
I'm
he's
sorry. What am
gonna-
I talking about?
You're like talking about a gas steal against Zerg.
We were talking about possibly Stork versus Last, and I just decided that we're in a we're in a TVP here.
It's super funny because, like, can you imagine if he went in and took that gas? Like, Where would be so confused. He'd be like, "Wait a minute, is that good? Like,
yeah.
Isn't that terrible? Isn't that the worst thing you could ever do?"
So Stork's probably going to double gate over here. It looks like it's going to be gate on 9, and then is it possibly gate on 10, or you can do 9 gate 9. Take a note, my hand is almost healed. I'm just going to copy this build and not play real games on the ladder.
I can't wait to get you on some StarCraft.
I'm excited.
Remastered.
I'm going to be
It's
so bad.
So much fun.
I'm going to be so bad. But
I'm going to kill all your probes every game. I'm not even going to attack your army. I'm only going to go drop ships and vultures.
Oh, then I'll lose for sure. Or you just plant mines around the map because I don't make enough observers.
I'm going to go Valkyries with scan to kill your observers. It's going to be
brutal.
Fabulous. While you're trying to get back into shape. Play real against me, Artosis. How can you disrespect me? Okay, so that
angle
came in from a funny angle,
Yeah.
and the drone saw the angle, so he can go and scout for this. It looks like he was already kind of doing that anyways.
Well, hello. 2 gates over here. Now, these zealots are going to come out very fast, and even if he knows this is coming now, this really all boils down to the timing of the spawning pool. So, I actually think that this actually can just still work against Ware.
Yeah, it is super quick. Like, this natural hatchery, that's going to be a tricky one to try to save that. Already going up for a sunken here in the main base.
Now, Protoss can't really utilize the gateways after the rush is kind of done.
Yeah.
So it is not the easiest transition for Protoss, despite how strong this is. It's a little bit awkward.
Getting a lot of damage already done here. Oh, I love it. Using that probe to help alley-oop some of these kills.
Okay, 2 probes killed.
Yeah, very nice.
2 drones, rather. Sorry.
Very nice killing the probe, by the way. That definitely does help out, so it takes more hits from the Zealot to kill things.
4 drone kills back there. And this is so this is what you do in this rush. You block off that ramp with the 2 zealots, and it's so annoying. Because the Lynx can't get out the same way that Lynx can't get up a ramp with 2 zealots there. They can't get down it either.
That is true, but he can expand in the back if he wants to expand in. Oh, I like this.
Oh my god, it's spotted.
Oh my gosh.
So this is a response sometimes people have, where they'll mass up Lings and try to get outside the Protoss base, and they have a hatch inside the main so they can surround it. And I think the lucky number is 4 probes to kill a hatchery like this.
Is it?
Yeah. This actually happens a lot when you try this strategy. And if you just have 4, it basically dies.
Looks like he's sending a Zealot home just to be super duper safe about that. Zealot's starting to poke their heads in a little bit.
He's trying to make sure the Zerg's being honest and doesn't have like 4 Lings back there and the Zealots just run in and start killing more workers.
Looks like the hatch is just barely going down.
What you want to do is you want the hatch to die basically right as it finishes. So they either have to cancel and try again. And having 4 probes do this is not really that much of a loss, considering that the Zerg doesn't have another base.
Yeah. So with that Zealot in there, I think he will just definitely cancel it here. No good can come of this hatchery.
This is super annoying for the Zerg, right? Because that's a hatchery that could have been somewhere on the map as an expansion.
And breaking something like this is so annoying for Zerg to break down the ramp. It's not like you have a queen or anything. I like this. Using a drone drill right now.
Yeah, the drone drill is the answer here. But if the Protoss is good, they just reshuffle and just go for the workers here. So I think Ware is basically dead after losing that many drones. He's on 1 base. What you do is you want to back up just right before they do the drill and hit him there and pretty much win.
Take like an arc at the bottom.
Right, yeah. And then the drones just stack and bump into each other. So Zerg's going to try to expand down here, but this game's basically a disaster for Ware. This is just not the game he came in here wanting to play today.
It's like, I mean, everyone's sitting here watching exactly the same thing we are, man. These Zealots are just shredding through Lings on the ramp. He has almost no drones. The hatchery didn't work out. It's not like Stork has a lot going on right now, but like he has complete control.
This is the whole point, is that even though you're right, Protoss doesn't have a lot. In fact, Protoss doesn't even have gates in his main. The Zerg doesn't have a base, and I mean Protoss will always take that exchange. And this is basically a Protoss punishing a Zerg for trying to play a standard game. And this is why Stork won so many tournaments. He was such an accomplished player because he knew how to win. And it's not that Stork can't macro or play a standard game. He absolutely can, but he's also, he's one of the smartest Brood War players ever.
Yeah.
Probably the best builds in the industry too. Like whenever he does something like this, you pretty much want to copy the way he does it, because he's probably doing it the cleanest way.
And actually, this is a really good thing for you to bring up. For instance, amongst the 4 players, right? There's 4 players that we always kind of talk about.
Right.
Flash, Chedong, Bisu, Stork, right? And Stork would be 4th in that. But he's like by far the slowest player in that.
Low APM.
Yeah, comparatively. Obviously he's very fast and very with it. But like even when you just watch him stream, it's like you watch him and you're like, well, that's very impressive. But then you watch Bisu and you're like, oh, that's a different universe right there. But their skills are not really a gigantic difference or anything like that.
Stork could beat Bisu in games.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
they have great PvPs.
But you look at Stork and Bisu, it's like these are completely different players. Now, I'd say Stork does look the rustiest out of them, and I think that's why we're seeing a little bit more stuff like this, where Stork's like, okay, I'm probably smarter than my opponent, and I probably think better on my feet, so why would I play a normal game?
Sure. I hope he can make that work against Last, next one. Spore is having to be made.
Usually when you see one Spore made and the Zerg's on 2 bases and the Protoss is on 1, things are not going well. And the Corsairs are sort of the second phase of this, where you can monitor what the Zerg's doing, since it's not like StarCraft 2 where they can spread creep everywhere. You can pretty much scout what's going on, also kill all the overlords on the map. And Stork's actually edging up here. He's like thinking, well, I could probably try to get around to that natural expansion. See, he leaves 2 over there. Definitely for you Protoss players trying to learn, practice your Zealot micro. And get very good at tucking them in these little nooks, because it's Zerg needs a surround. The Zealot beats a Zergling in a head-to-head fight, but a lot of Lings surrounding Zealots will win. So Stork's very good at hugging the walls here, blocking the ramp, you name it.
Right, 3 Corsairs coming in to clear out these overlords and supply block him once again.
Look at this, he's just going to micro away the weaker Corsair, and I think, Zerg supply blocked at 22 of 18.
Oh, man. Hatcheries do not give much supply.
No, they do not. And basically, Stork is continuing to come in here with these jabs and keep Wear slowed down. And, the problem is, since he only has that Spore, the Corsairs can actually dive in again. It's just 1 Spore. I mean, I guess he could get 2 Spores, but this is already getting pretty ugly.
Well, when you're building 2 Spores to try to punish Corsairs from supply blocking,
something went wrong earlier
past
on.
20 supply when you have this many Lings. I mean, how many different ways can we say this isn't going well for Zerg?
I wonder if he's
how many languages do you know?
Not enough. I think I actually thought he was going to keep making the Corsairs, then just wait for the Overlords to hatch, then gum in again. He's only just now unsupply blocked himself, by the way, Artosis. And he can only make Overlords at that main hatch. This is the worst feeling for Zerg. Like, you feel so totally hopeless. I think it's in some ways harder for the Zerg to get back on their feet than even a Terran is after they get cheesed. The Zergs just don't. If they don't have the right growth, it's just brutal.
If you get punished early game as Zerg, that's probably the worst with the least comeback potential.
Yeah.
Like, there's so few options for him to actually do anything here. Like Zerg, you need your economy flowing. You need to have a few hatches and get some speed upgrades and stuff, and then you can make things happen. But right now,
the Lynx might try to run into the main here, but I think he's...
I mean, now Stork goes and kills him with the Zealots.
Right.
That Hydra is not going to hold these.
Yeah, 1 Hydra.
There's a
with
Ling in there,
massive
too.
drone drill coverage. He's got the Sartosis. So here you want to spam right-click on the drones if you can get them, or use hold position as another technique. We're seeing that here as well. And, I mean, just the sheer number of workers that are killed, and the fact that these Lings are just obviously going to be held.
He had to try something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him. I think Zealot Legs just finished, by the way. So that's when it's really just hard to actually out-micro that. GG. Very straightforward game. That's how you proxy a Zerg and avoid a standard easy.
This is a crazy thing about StarCraft 1. Like, up at the very, very top, the amount that these players differentiate themselves, like, I think it's pretty safe to call ASL the very, these are the best. Like, this is the round of 24, right? These are the 24 best players on Earth.
Yeah.
And, like, Stork, this guy is, I don't know if he'll make it through this round, but Ware keeps qualifying, but look at the difference between him and Stork, like, for instance. And I mean, I know that was like a cheese bill and stuff, but I think generally that's what that will look like.
Yeah, but I mean, he handled that very, very well.
Yeah.
And he was basically shutting Ware down in a lot of fronts we didn't even really get to discuss as much. There's so much detail that goes into technical builds like that. So our final match of the night is one I am truly conform, man. Last versus Stork. We'll be going to that right after this short break.
This is right now, screaming out loud, let the moment take control, feel it in your heart and soul, 'cause you know tonight is all, there is no tomorrow, for one, for all.
김진수 선수를 모시고 이 얘기 한번 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 네, 광고를 하시잖아요, 퓨마 오늘. 네, 이거 좀 보여드리겠습니다. 오, 자 여러분 오늘 이거 드립니다.
이거예요.
네, 만지지만 내 거다. 벌써부터 지금 김신욱 형님 별명이 뭔지 아세요?
뭐예요? 메가사비?
아우,
얼굴로 웃긴 게 없잖아요.
김진수 화이팅! 퓨마 화이팅!
저기요, 우리 아빠 좀 찾아주세요. 저기요, 우리 아빠 좀 찾아주세요. 아빠, 이제 나와도 돼.
Halloween 2, he's back.
왜 이렇게 X 생겼냐?
가슴 짱네.
게임 쓰레기처럼 하네.
니다 같은
칼로 죽여버리고 싶다. 뭐 사람이 많이 부정적으로 변하더라고요.
사람을 마주치기가 좀 무섭고
어디론가 숨고 싶었고
정말 죽고 싶죠.
여자로서 굉장히 수치심이 느껴졌고
밥도 잘 못 먹고 잠도 잘 못 잤어요.
당신이 작성한 한 줄의 악성 댓글 누군가에겐 평생 상처가 됩니다.
카차 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 카카오 닙스차 후디스 카카오 닙스차.
뭐 마시지? 좀 가볍고 몸에 좋은 거 없나? 새로 나온 카카오 닙스차. 어때? 우와!
카차 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 카카오 닙스차. 카차 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 카카오 닙스차. 카차 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 카카오 닙스차.
한 번 맛보면 이 매력에 쏙 빠질걸?
건강함에 쏙 빠지다. 후디스 카카오 닙스차.
날카로운 면도날이 이중 윤활 밴드를 만나다 시원함까지 더해진 당신의 면도, 쿨링을 더한 프로실드 칠로 당신의 면도를 부드럽고 시원하게. 질레트 프로실드 칠, 남자를 위한 최상의 선택.
끝없는 악몽의 시작, 블러드시티, 네버랜드.
Welcome back to the ASL. Tastes and Artos are about to cast a fantastic game. Stork versus Last. This is the old versus the new.
Yeah.
Stork is a seasoned veteran of Brood War. He has lasted through the ages. Last is the newest hot player in StarCraft 1. Definitely, I think he is the youngest guy in the ASL. Am I wrong about that? There might be one or two other guys that are close to his age.
You might be wrong. We have a couple new
okay.
kids, I think.
Well, he's definitely on the younger side. I should actually check after the show on that. I know he was in some of the previous seasons we had, but I know that there's a big resurgence of Brood War players. So essentially, Last would grow up or grew up watching Stork on TV, being like, he's the guy, but I want to be the guy too. And now here he is.
This is his chance to be the guy. The map's going to be Fighting Spirit, the most standard of macro maps, which I would feel like gives Last like a little bit of an advantage.
But hold on, Artosis, this is Stork.
Yeah, this is Stork.
He is the alchemist of good strats, man. He could
remember that map?
Oh God, yeah,
that was such a weird map. But yeah, no,
pretty much every noun that exists was also a map in Bird War, guys.
Yeah, that's true. That's why you needed.
Remember Dog Bowl? That was a wild map. Dog Bowl.
I don't remember that.
It's not. It's a joke.
Oh. You should name a map Dog Bowl.
Dog Bowl. Yeah.
That can be Crossing Fields.
That was Fighting Spirit is Dog Bowl here. Let's see what happens. It's a best of one. The winner moves on to the next round of the ASL. The loser is out.
Fight. KT Giga Internet. ASL Season 4.
Gotta make sure I go. I was wrong, I can tell, for the heart can be blind and frozen. Now I live with the pain every night, every day, as I read those letters.
In the bottom left, our Terran player Last. And his opponent in the bottom right is Stork.
Do you think Stork's going to cheese?
I actually really very much so do think he's going to cheese.
Okay.
I guess that, let's not say cheese, because some of these things that Protoss do, they look like cheese, but to be honest, you can transition out of them fine. But
yeah.
I think he's not going to make
they
a
just
gateway
feel
and then
like
a
cheese,
nexus
yeah.
and then 2 more gates in a robo. I think that's something that we have to be very careful to distinguish in Brood War, because a lot of stuff that looks like, well, if it doesn't work, then you lose, is not the case at all.
Oh, yeah.
For instance, some people would look at a 9-pool, right? 9-pool speedling rush. A lot of times, you'll just kill somebody with that straight up, but it's not a cheese. Zerk can transition out of that.
Yeah, it actually takes a lot to kill someone completely in this game. You can really stay alive for a long time. Like, that last game, I mean, Stork was up 30 supply.
You know what I'd say
for a really long time, but he's like, well, if I move in right now, this would be a mistake, because this is the one way he might come back.
I've got a good analogy here.
Okay.
So, if you want to look at how long people last in matches, let's compare. Let's make it like StarCraft 1 is boxing, StarCraft 2 is MMA. In StarCraft 2, you can get somebody to submit really fast. If you can get a standard lead, you can really get in there. StarCraft 1, and this is nothing to compare the two sports as far as like skill and how they work, but just sometimes it takes a long game to take a boxer down.
Yeah.
Someone can be rocked, they can be knocked on the floor. We let them count, let them get back up.
Yeah. That is that's a pretty good way to put it. I like that.
Yeah, and of course occasionally
knockout punches occur.
Yeah,
Protoss has a few of them.
Yeah, for sure. But in this case, I don't want to. When we see, for instance, what Last was doing in that game against Ware, not really a cheese, guys.
No.
It's actually just a very technical rush. It's meant to give him an edge. You might kill a Zerk doing that. Zerk can certainly fall apart. Protoss has a lot of other stuff like that as well. I mean, you can see Protoss proxy buildings and sort of bounce back from it. Just something I want to put out there, because especially in gaming, everybody talks about the game in such a hyperbolic way that we're not really even talking about it.
Yeah.
So this game, Last is doing the 2016-2017 TVP meta of quick expand.
Yeah.
This was a build that was dismissed a lot of times in the early days of Brood War as impossible to do. But it seems like now people have really figured out how to get away with it.
Yeah, they really have. People repair the bunker very well, get their siege tanks out, and know all the little branches that come off that. And this is exactly the type of build that Stork probably is assuming that Last will do. He really loves this style. This is one of the most common macro openings that there is. And,
yeah.
Last is really just a mechanical player. That's what he is. If he gets his mechanics really rolling and can just make a ton of units and go after you, that's the best case scenario for him.
So for all my bluster about how Stork's going to do something kind of crazy, it looks like he's not going to do that at all. He added some of the probes on later on the cast, so he should be getting a Nexus pretty quickly here.
Yeah, probably like just rallying range Dragoons to hit the bunker a little bit, make him pull the SCVs and whatever, and take that expansion. But where does he go after that?
It's a good question. I guess one of the things you want to ask yourself is, does Protoss try to continue on with this rate of expanding, or does Protoss try to then get a tech off 2 base? In older days, we saw a lot more people just try to keep expanding, like those games I've seen you play against G5, where G5 just keeps at this kind of crazy growth rate.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of games where the Protoss actually powers on 2 base in Korea.
Yes.
And tries to get to arbiters and get a bunch, gets a bunch of gateways.
Well, the reason why that is kind of the new standard is that there's a bunch of timing attacks that Terrans have figured out in these more modern years that just kill. Like, for instance, a lot of times you will see, especially if the Terran is better than the Protoss, they'll just kill them with a 4-factory attack. And it's like, that was never a thing back in the day. That was just not how anyone played. No one had any sharp timings that were 4 factories on 2 bases to kill a Protoss that took a 3rd.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do that, you'd go like 6-fact and try to roll them over. But anyways, like, we could see something like that. And because those timings are very popular, you know, things like rushing up to an arbiter on 2 bases definitely are quite standard in from the Protosses that we're seeing now.
Also, it's a pretty desirable push distance for last. So this is what you want to do when you get this expand up. Terran has that bunker out there because he doesn't want the CC or the barracks or the depot to get hit, so it's out in the open. Since Protoss was going to get Dragoon range anyways, you just park these Dragoons out here. And you're not, I mean, if you kill the bunker, then, oh, that is great. But normally you know that they're going to repair it in time.
Yeah.
But this is forcing them to spend minerals to repair that. And when you get 4, occasionally you dive in. It's 4, right? Or is it 5?
Well, at 6, you one-shot
6.
SCVs.
That's right. I'm sorry. It's 6.
Yeah. If you want to try to 2-vol, you can dive in at this point, but it's generally not worth it. You're going to lose all your shields in like 2 seconds.
So you can try to dive on top of the SCVs. So that's what we're going to see here. Now, the Marines each target Dragoons with a different order. You can't target fire out of a bunker. Quite important to note. So a lot of times, even though it looks like you could lose a bunch of Dragoons, usually the Marines are all attacking different Dragoons.
Yeah, it's very, very true. As that tank siege is up, you will be able to push us all back. That was very well done by Stork. He got like basically the max amount of damage that he could out of that. Caused some lost mining time, killed a couple SCVs.
Yeah.
And that stuff is all important because, you know, with this build, against like 1 gate range expand, your CC is finishing as they're making their Nexus, so you have to start catching up in these little ways.
So this is something that became more popular in the later years of Brood War, this technique that Stork is going for, which is a mid-game Reaver. A lot of the earlier builds in PvT were centered around getting the Reaver as soon as possible and dropping. But it seems like the very smart Protosses at the time figured out that they actually don't get that defensive in the mid-game after they see the initial rush. If they see the Dragoons up there and they see the Nexus, sometimes they'll dismiss it. Now, Last is somebody who just is so safe. I don't think that the mid-game Reaver is going to work. And one of my concerns when I see Protosses do this is that if the Reaver doesn't do any damage, I think Protoss is behind.
I kind of agree with you if it doesn't do damage, but if you do the Reaver just right, and it's not going to do damage, by the way. Look how many turrets
there's no way it gets
He's
in there.
made like 5 or 6 turrets already. I've seen 5. There might even be a 6th in there near the main CC. But
I did once see Legionnaire do this, where he had an observer come in there and take hits, and then just ran the the shuttle through.
Well, he is the
Reaver
Reaver
King.
crazy,
man.
That's for sure. But look, as long as he does not lose all of this, the Reaver has some utility. Like,
certainly.
I'll talk more about that in a second because this is about to occur.
Okay,
Last defense is way too good.
I know, every turret is placed absolutely perfectly. So, yeah, you are right. A Reaver shooting at vultures or even a clump of tanks is always a good thing.
Yeah, like, for instance, to push up, now this is the standard part, right? He's getting ready to take his 3rd. He already started his 3rd command center. You land these buildings, it makes a wall, you go take your 3rd. But if you bring a shuttle with a Reaver over there and you have a few Dragoons and stuff, getting up that ramp is annoying. You know, at this point in the game, you might have 5 tanks, 6 tanks, something like that. And see, he sees him coming up right now. Where is that shuttle?
See, shuttle, I think, is in the bottom center. Am I wrong?
I think it's actually up, going towards the space right now.
Center left?
I believe that is it. But anyways, he was too late on this, I would say.
Shuttle speed.
Like, there's already tanks up here. If nothing is on the high ground and you already have units up here, then it's very hard to take. But he doesn't do that this time. So.
Well, this is something. So you want to abuse the fact that the Reaver, it doesn't outrange a tank, by the way, but you can just start to hit stuff that's where the tank isn't. Okay, now this is a little bit too ambitious. But he's going for it. I mean, with shuttle speed,
Oh, there was another one in that main base, so he's sacrificing everything here. Ooh, not going to get as much as he wanted.
Did he even... He got 1 SCV, am I correct about this?
I wasn't sure exactly how many he got. It was 1 or 2. That's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah.
Well, that one didn't work so well. It's kind of funny. You see Protoss start to try to skirt on the edge of a turret. Oftentimes, against a turtley Terran, that's the worst thing you can do. Go straight over a turret. Because the turrets are spaced like perfectly, so they cover everything. It's kind of weird. Like sometimes, so if you're in the middle, you get hit by both.
Yeah. Yeah, with shuttle speed, you can do something, but I think that was an impulse play there by Stork.
Yeah.
So now he doesn't have the revert.
Killing the 2 SCVs that were making the depots was cool, just because he needed those depots. He was supply locked at 70 for a long time. But yeah, Stork is in what I consider to be a tough spot. I like that he's expanding upwards, but the first push that comes out of last is not something he's going to be able to really fight against very easily.
Yeah. And last is going to have a lot of momentum with this push. Now, last may wait until he's maxed out to come out. You can do this as Terran where you just sit back and you sort of almost play single player for a while. Because you know that the Protoss basically can't break you, and Protoss has to double down on their production. So what he did for a while was cut production out of the gateways. He's teching to arbiters, and he's going to make an insane amount of gateways. Like a completely crazy number.
Whereas on last side, he's going to want to make probably about 9 factories and really get that rally going. We'll see if he goes for 2-1 before pushing out, but like basically once you have your full infrastructure up, if you can rally in, like you're happy with your siege tank count, and you can rally in like, you know, between 6 and 9 vultures at a time, it becomes very difficult if you get any position on the map for a Protoss to break you. And this army right now that Stork has cannot fight against this.
Yeah,
Last has a better army right now.
And it's a good number of gateways, but the gateways aren't spread. None of them are in the main here. So he's going to try to Zealot bomb here. And then, just that. He drops a Zealot on the tank in the front. All the other tanks fire, and they blow up that tank. You trade one Zealot for one tank. Always a good exchange for the Protoss. Zealot legs is not done either, by the way. And Protoss basically can't attack the Terran.
Yeah.
In fact, if you see them without Zealot legs, push forward even further.
Yes. When the Zealot legs comes out, that's when it gets scary and you need the vultures in front. But before that, the Zealots are just nothing.
Now, Stork's response is the correct one to go around and try to get from behind, but I don't think he left enough units here in the front to keep the Nexus safe.
Yeah, the Nexus is very likely going to go down here. Can he actually break through?
You might be able to. I've seen some crazy stuff here.
Oh, slow Zealots trying to break this.
Gross.
Gross. Ew. But this counter push is actually doing pretty well. The tank being siege, the SimCity really helping him out right now.
I think this game might just end. Oh, that's cute. 1 DT. Yeah, sometimes you can have 1 DT, you drop it, hit stuff, and once they scan, you pick back up. But Stork is basically, I think, just going to lose this game.
It definitely looks like that right now. This hold by last is pretty strong, and he's killing this Nexus, so that's super rough.
We can chalk some of this up to the Lost Reaver, but also it just seems like Last is sort of a better, cleaner player.
Yes.
And look, he knows exactly where to go. He's not going to try to be overly ambitious and push into the main. Instead, he's going to rotate up here, get this middle base out.
Killing that is like sealing the deal, basically.
Pretty much,
Last is still sitting here on 3 bases. He's feeling fantastic. He hasn't really lost too many siege tanks this game.
And
good targeting by Last, not letting the siege tanks hit the
letting the vultures clean this up.
Yeah. If the siege tanks shoot, because what he's trying to do is draw the splash damage onto the siege tanks there. But it looks like he'll actually clear this without losing the Nexus, right?
No, he got the
Nexus. He did get the Nexus.
He targeted that
Oh
down.
my
That's
God.
what he was firing at.
He's so dirty good.
Yeah.
See, I just have like a burning Nexus there, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so sad. I'm going to lose now. But he kills that base, and that's fantastic.
Well, we've seen Protoss come back from this, but against a player the caliber of Last, it's kind of hard to imagine. You know, at this point in time, Protoss is scrambling to gain control of his side of the map. It's just really tough, man.
Yeah, and you can see that Last is so much on top of like how to macro this correctly, right? Because when you're doing pushes like this, you want to rally in vultures, so his gas peaks, he added a ton of add-ons there to rebuild his tanks that he just lost now, right? So he's going to get the right actual composition again, like plenty of siege tanks in there. He has armories going at this point. He's going to want to get some vessels with EMP out, and that's like every tool that he's looking for right now.
Now, I will say, Stork has done a remarkable job of continuing to macro up despite this. He's actually ahead in supply, albeit very slightly. But it's still pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, you want to be pretty far up in supply as Protoss at a situation like this. Like, if you're both sitting at, like, 150,
yeah,
that's actually normally Terran advantage.
Yeah, pretty much.
What you want as Protoss is to be maxed with a big bank, and I guess that sounds like everyone wants that. But
so Last realizes that Protoss is probably going to have Dragoons spread out everywhere to try to make sure he can reclaim those bases, so there's nothing to keep these probes alive over here.
Yeah, this was really brand.
And then you just litter this with mines. Sometimes these mines end up going off later on in the game when there's an attacking unit in line with that army.
That was really, really good, actually. You got a good amount of units there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The probes there. Definitely worth it to just add that one little dropship in, but it's, you know, it takes speed and stuff, and you don't see a lot of Terrans add that in at this point after 2 successful pushes.
I think +2 should be finishing up for Protoss, but the upgrade advantage is going to be pretty tremendous here for Last. Now, again, I actually do really want to emphasize, Stork is maxed out, or nearly maxed out, pretty beautifully, considering that he lost half of his bases in the earlier part of this game.
What does he do with the Arbiter now? He has the Arbiter, he sells a speed shuttle, he has a good chunk of units, but if he does something like recalls on a minefield or gets EMP'd right away...
I don't think you can recall here. You'll lose the game if you recall.
I
That's
agree
what Terran wants.
Like, Last is super preparing for that. I don't even see a 4th command center that he started, so he's like really just getting ready for a death push, it looks like.
Well, usually what Protoss wants to do is when Terran moves out, you try to counter, and when they go back to defend it, you run away.
Yeah.
You want to drag the game out, but it's very hard to do. Now, can he get a good stasis maybe on the center line of these tanks? Not bad, actually. I'm not sure. This tank line seems to go to a comical distance. And with the hold on a second. Is he going to do this?
Oh, those GTs dropped on the siege tanks do clear a few off. That is a lot of siege tanks, though. He is going to have to pull back, I think.
I think you're right. Oh, great storm. You know what? Actually, I think he goes for it.
I don't know.
Just start to target down those tanks.
He's going to lose just about every single unit here.
That's actually a win for Protoss, I think, because if you got the tank count that low, you just go back and remax.
I loved the size storm. It's just like as soon as the Zealots die, if the Protoss stays, they better be getting the sickest value because the Dragoons get erased in like 2 seconds.
I think the rationale is that because he had stormed on top of those tanks, the Dragoons could start to get easier pot shots off. Oh, this is funny.
Not something you see every day.
Yeah, I guess that works.
Arbiters have like the worst attack in the game.
Same damage as a probe or something like that. Like
it's 10 explosive. Explosive's bad, so it does 5 to a lot of stuff. Like.
Yeah. Okay, but it seems like Last has not slowed down. Gateways are being positioned here in the upper right. It's very important. If you can get 3 or 4 up there, you usually feel safe, even if Terran gets some kind of good foothold on your side of the map.
All right, well, without a 4th base actually mining, Last is not in as dominating a position as he once was. Like, he played such a strong and nice early game, and he hasn't played poorly since then. Like, I like the Vulture drop. That move out he just did, Stork did surprisingly well against. I love that he got the size storm there. Some Protosses skip that. Stork is not one of those Protosses.
I've always been bad about that.
Oh, dude, it's one of the best things.
But the thing is, it's actually trickier than you think when you're trying to get the gas tech up and stuff.
Well, I
mean, maybe I'm just bad.
You're mostly just making Zealots because, you know, if Protoss 1A. But
keep the Dragoons alive.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was really good with the size storms and all. And if Last cannot protect another base coming up here, then this can quickly become a Stork victory.
So, Stork is got his entire army hockeyed. He's continuing to maneuver around the map. He wants Terran to constantly reconfigure his setup. A little bit easier for Protoss to do this in Terran, and that's why Protoss is trying to take full advantage of that. I guess he's going to go for it because the fact that he stays in, you don't just like doop-de-doop, I don't know, I guess I'll just stasis. That's a great location to get that over there. Now, we have the shuttle coming in here. The storms are what we want to watch for.
Some pretty good storms going off right there. Maybe not 100% perfect. There we go. That storm in the back is sick.
Okay, some more zealots coming out over here too. Oh my God! I think last might actually lose this game.
Yeah, he might indeed, Tasteless. This is kind of crazy to see.
You know, a lot of this goes down to the execution of these attacks here by Stork. He's just that good. Now he needs to get up there. Now the game plan for last is to re-macro. Oh!
So funny.
The game plan here is for last to try to come up here with another army and try to save these units from the stasis. I don't know how hard Stork was macroing while this was all going on. Is he going to get the storms? Actually, pretty damn good storms, to be honest.
Yeah, he does pretty well against all this, to be clear. Like, he kills off a ton of siege tanks, and if you keep resetting the siege tank count like this, it's super tough for Terran. Look at that bank. It's almost non-existent for last.
I love the one Zealot running over here to the side to try to hit the SCVs. He wants to draw some Vultures back for the next big attack.
Vultures right now need to really be laying mines to kind of zone everything out so that his few tanks can cover bigger areas. If they don't have minefields in front, they aren't going to do anything at all. While Stork is remaxing quite quickly here. He's got a lot of bases. I got to tell you, man, losing that Reaver, not doing too much, the push that kills 2 bases right off the bat by last. I was not feeling Stork for this game.
I have to say, Stork is actually pulling off a miracle here. So he's remaxed.
He is really playing magnificently.
This is the moment where Stork has to come in here and drive last out of this side of the map or face a long game that Terran should be favored in. Now, he's got a shuttle over here. I believe that's full of Templars. I might be wrong, but of course a storm drop sort of screws everything up. Oh my God, here we go! No, we don't!
You did it! Oh, man. Well, if he had gotten that off, that would have been fantastic, but he did not. So, looks like Stork getting ready to attack elsewhere. The entire army, close to it at least, chasing around that shuttle right now.
I want to point out that Stork is very good with moving these observers around the map. It's hard when Terran pushes out with some Goliaths there and this science vessels. You've usually lost all the observers and the map's all dark and confusing, but not this time around. Now this, good targeting there by Last. Looks like he still has some Templars here. You can even storm the Vultures and it's fine.
Last is dead.
Yeah, this game is actually
this is it. This push kills this base.
This is why Stork has been viewed throughout the ages as the top 4 greatest players of all time. As strong as Last is,
amazing.
Currently viewed as the 2nd best Terran in the world, also the newest top pro gamer. It doesn't matter against somebody like Stork.
Dude, he lost 1 SCV to a Speed Shuttle Reaver and killed 2 bases with his push.
Yeah. I mean, this is Stork. There's so much to talk about here. Stork is so good.
He's super
You can see
happy.
he's saying, I still got it.
Yeah, he does.
I still got it.
He really does. Oh my God, that was so well done. I'm like really impressed. He pulled that right out of the jaws of defeat. You know, that was. I really thought Last was just going to eliminate him. I'm like, okay, well, you know, Last is really good. I'm not too surprised. It was kind of like I was hoping Stork could beat Sock in the final game. Wow, this night did not go how I saw it going.
Man, I feel for Last. You know, this guy with Remastered this season in ASL, the life being injected at full speed ahead here into StarCraft 1, and he has been knocked out in the earliest possible phase of the ASL. And of course, by somebody where you got to say, really, there's never any shame in losing to Stork.
You know,
it's Stork for crying out loud. By the way, Stork playing a better macro game than we've seen from him in StarCraft 2 or StarCraft 1 in years.
Yes, that was fantastic. By the way, with Last, is he going to be our new Kanata or something?
Could be.
Where he's like the Terran, everyone's like, yeah, no, he's unbelievably good, but he just cannot win on TV. We've had Terrans like that over the years, and Kanata, who's now a commentator over at SPO, I believe.
The real StarCraft heroes, the commentators.
Yes.
Wow. Like, I do wonder, when you bring that up, Artosis, what is Last? What's his future going to be like? That's a pretty damning loss here. And you know what? I think he probably should have beaten Sock.
축하드립니다.
He played a more normal game, but he didn't.
네, 정말 엄청난
Congratulations. Thank you.
전투력으로 시원한 한 방 잘 봤는데요. 소감이 어떠신가요?
Amazing fights back there. How do you feel?
그 마지막 경기 때 소급 셔틀
So the last match.
차례단에 하나 더 지었던 것 때문에
그냥 허무하게 지는 줄 알았는데 좀 뒤로 유닛을 돌리는 판단이 좀
I just thought I was going to lose that map in a useless fashion.
네, 오늘 경기력 중에 그러면은
But when I countered to his base,
말고
it
아쉬운
seemed
점이 있다면
it seemed to
뭐가
turn around.
이거 진짜
Were there any disappointing moments throughout
만약에
the
이게
games
5경기
today?
때 졌다면은 제가 또 개인 방송 열어가지고 말했다가 욕 오지게 먹을
If I lost the
뻔했는데
final match,
이겨서 얘기하는 건데 1경기 때
when I put on my personal stream,
처음에 이제
I would get a lot of
호선이가
mean
한타 나왔을
comments
때
from my
제가
fans.
드라군 셔틀 질러서
That's not very
싸웠잖아요.
nice. It's bad fans.
셔틀에 내리는 유키가
When I had that
버그가
match
나는 게
against Sock,
없더라고요. 그래가지고 유닛을 어택 내리고 셔틀을 보는데 이제 유닛을 못 보고 셔틀이 이게 단축키가 안 먹혀가지고 계속 셔틀만 보고 수동으로 계속 한 마리씩 클릭해서 네 마리를 다 내리게 되고
I feel like my keys weren't really registering.
수동으로 내리게 되더라고요. 그러니까
So I felt
단축키가
trapped for a
없어져가지고.
moment.
그래서 지면은 안 되는 게임인데 져서
I feel like my
진짜
shortcut
열받았거든요.
hotkeys weren't working as well as they used to in the past.
이 말을 꼭 하고 싶어서
So it was hard for me to control everything back there.
하키가 약간 문제가 에러가 났었다.
진짜 제가 이거 들키더라도 이길 수 있게 좀
Seems like there were some errors in my
빌드를
hotkeys.
짜왔는데 그 하키 없어진 것 때문에 너무 황당스럽잖아요. 싸워도 이길 게 딱
Seems like you
뻔한
noticed my builds and I had strategies to respond to them.
그것 때문에 이제 유닛 싸움을 지게 되니까 너무 화났거든요, 진짜.
But because of my difficulties with my hotkeys, I was very upset.
못하면은 상당히
That was a mouthful, man.
예. 그래서인지 좀 과감한 그런 승부를 저구에게 했는데 후게이트를 선택했었습니다.
Seems like you had some very aggressive play against our Zerg player today.
다시 보기나 이런 걸로 상대방 연구를 좀 안 하고 저 혼자 괜찮은 빌드를 찾아서 썼는데
Yes, so in the past,
이번에는 3명의 선수 다 다시 보기 다 챙겨보고 이제 두열이의
I reviewed a lot of my past performances and studied them.
많이 하는 거 알아봐가지고
But this time,
이게 100% 통할 거라고
I just spent a lot more time focusing on how my opponents played today instead of trying to study myself.
싹 다 지워버리지 않습니까?
네.
근데 그걸 찾아가지고 또
I just
제가
analyzed how I thought they would open.
대기하고 있다가
And then I prepared for that and tried to have counter builds.
방종할 때까지 기다려서
But
딱 다 보고 이제 다
usually players delete all their VODs before tournaments.
선수가 불면증 때문에 고생을 많이 하고 있다라는 사실을
I managed to get a hold of their stuff before they deleted it.
유명한데 그것을 극복해내고 또 이 마지막 경기까지 승리를 따냈는데 그래도 이 좀 조마조마했던 부분이 좀 여러 군데였을 것 같아요. 뭐 셔틀이 잡혔던 것도 그렇고 이 병력들이 갑작스럽게 막 튀어나와주면서
where you were in a complete crisis in the game.
그때 막 답답함을 많이 느끼지 않았습니까?
Even Terrans.
솔직히 졌다고 생각을 했어요. 이제 돌아서
Terran broke your two necks eye.
좀 잡고 막혔기 때문에
Yeah, I thought I was going to lose that at that
졌다고
point in the game
생각하고
for sure.
그럴 때 이제 연습 때는 허무하게 그냥 유닛 싸움 하다가 지고 했는데 최대한 장기전은 한번 가보고
I just had this mindset that I'm not going to lose
게임을
this.
했거든요. 근데 싸우는데 이기길래 가능성 있다 이 생각을 했죠.
그때죠.
I try to have like this kind of aggressive attitude. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's go to the
그때
late
막
game.
배럭이 하나 딱 떠 있으면서
I tried to drag it
드라군이 때리는
out.
걸 다 맞아주고 템플러가 막 뒤에 엉켜서 못 지나갈
As
때
the game got longer, it felt like I had more opportunities and I got stronger.
그냥 배럭을 때리는 순간 망했다고 생각했어요. 근데 평소에도 드라군한테 별로 기대를 안 하고 있어가지고
사실 오늘 경기 출전하기 전에 좀 기대하지 말라고 그렇게 말씀하셨던 것 같았는데
I don't have much expectations for
밑밥 깔아놓은
the later parts
거기도
of the
하고요.
tournament.
사실 그렇게 말은 해도 속에서
He's asking. He seems like you're not that confident in your interviews beforehand.
빌드 준비 같은 잘 했기 때문에 올라갈
As
수
a speaker, I don't have that much confidence, but as a pro gamer, we always have that mindset that we're going to win.
문제가 있었음에도 정신적인 타격을 크게
So I
받지
didn't speak out that much.
집중력을
I had the confidence just in my play, my ability to win.
했던 건 원인인 것 같은데 앞으로는 좀 더 이 팬분들이 아주 많이 기대를 하고 있지 않습니까?
So you didn't lose your concentration.
기대하는 부분을 다
And you
채워주시기
focus on your
바랍니다.
games. I think that was
정말
probably key for you.
토스 로망을 본 것 같아요. 저도 이제 토스 유저지만 시원한 전투 정말 잘 봤고 오늘 아쉬운 점도
Stork really showed us how to have some
좋았던
fantastic
점도
Protoss games.
있지만 끝으로 팬
As a Protoss player
여러분께 인사
myself,
한번 부탁드립니다.
Any
제가 생각하기에
tips to people who are trying to learn that race?
생각할지 모르겠지만 저는 이게 진짜 죽음의 조라고 생각했어요. 이제 제가 포함되어 있기 때문에
I'm not sure my fans think about it, but I personally think
다른 선수들이 잘해서 죽음의 조라고 생각했는데
I thought my group was. Did you say group of death?
8강 목표로 잡고 제가 그 죽음의 조에
And I made out of this group of death.
저 때문에 이제 죽음의 조가 되는 그런.
And I feel like I get stronger each time I advance.
네, 축하드립니다.
In the group
송병구
nomination.
선수 축하드립니다. 네, B조 마지막 진출자인 송병구 선수까지 만나봤습니다. 오늘의 경기 결과를 화면으로
All right, that does it,
확인해
guys.
보시죠.
That's all you're gonna get. Well, big upset today with Last not advancing. Sock is, I guess, just somebody we're going to have to get very used to never counting out. Sock
really
is
well
going to be
tonight.
having a drinking stream. You guys can go party with him there.
Yeah.
That's the after party for you viewers. And Stork advances. I mean, I guess we should never be surprised if Stork advances.
No, of
Stork
course
is just
not.
such a
He's
legend.
one of the greatest of all time, and he really shows why right there. That was a
Remember all these
just
people that were like,
fantastic.
you can't be old and be good at StarCraft, your hands are not.
Yeah, well, we are learning.
Well, you
exactly
guys
the
are wrong.
opposite. It's eventually you understand the game so damn well that you can just make it work.
Tomorrow we have Effort versus Lazy and Mind versus Rush.
That's going to be a really fun one. Mind and Effort, of course, two actual champions of the old days. Rush and Lazy looking to make their mark against these badasses.
Well, this
wow,
was
they're
fun.
going to play on Desert Skull, too.
Desert Skull is
Desert.
going to be the starting map,
Desert.
Tamori. Skull Desert, that's right. Not Desert Skull.
Wasteland of the Damned.
Well, this was fun. I'm really enjoying getting this ASL going. As each passing week, we eliminate more and more players and whittle it down to the truly best of this current era in StarCraft.
It is totally awesome to be here on Brood War Remastered. It's just, or StarCraft Remastered, whatever we're calling this. Brood War HD. It's like, no, none of those words are in it. Stop. But yeah, it's great. The game is back. It's so alive right now. It's only like $15. Go buy it.
Go get it.
Seriously.
Do the right thing.
And I'm not
Do
saying
the
you
right
even have to
thing.
play
a little
normal
bit.
maps. Like play money maps against computers. It's actually really fun.
7v1 comp stop.
Play use map. While you're at it, go buy StarCraft 2. You can play some co-op on that. You're gonna love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good time to be an RTS
What
fan.
a time to be alive.
Thanks to Blizzard.
Yeah, Blizzard. Showing the love to RTS. Well, this was a lot of fun, man. I guess we'll see you in about 24 hours for day 3 of the ASL. We love you. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are. Mwah.
Evolution complete. The challenge begins.